2. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another amazing episode of Jedi Talk. I am your host, Brad Hughes, and today I am joined in the Force. I guess that would be how you say it. Joined in the Force with my amazing co-host, one of my amazing co-hosts, Tom Oakrey. Tom, I'm so excited for this episode. I can't wait to get into it. But before we get into that, how you doing, buddy?
Oh, by the right of the council, by the will of the Force, I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
I'm doing good, man. It's been a very quick week.
Yeah, doesn't feel like that for me. I tell you that much.
You've been across the country, man. You were here at one point, and you've been everywhere. You've been everywhere, man.
I have. I've been to Batu and back.
Hey. Batu and back. But okay, so this is before we even get started with the show. You came across an amazing story that's like literally 23 minutes old.
Yeah.
What's going on? What is this?
So on Instagram, just looking at some things before we were kicking the show off, as I was prepping my notes a little bit and just getting things together, I came across a page that I follow, Star Wars fan page, breaks a lot of news, well over 162,000 followers. And this post caught my eye because, first and foremost, the first thing you see is a young Luke Skywalker who appears to be force hovering a yellow kyber crystal. But that's not all in this poster, okay? In this picture, right? You look down and there's the beloved Grogu, a.k.a. Baby Yoda, or the child. And what appears to be a bunch of different metal pieces hovering above Grogu as he's using the Force to assemble what looks like a lightsaber. So not only on its own is this a badass picture, and we'll go ahead and share this to our Instagram account at Jedi Talk Podcast so everybody could see what we're talking about on this episode. We're sharing it today before the end of the day on Friday, July 23rd. So if you're listening to this after the fact and you want to go find this post, that's when we're going to share it. I'll make sure to save it as a highlight. But anyway, when you read the actual caption from Star Wars fan page, it states the following. This is an officially licensed poster releasing at Comic-Con showing Grogu building a yellow lightsaber with Jedi Master Luke Skywalker. So holy shit. This was breaking news as we were just kicking this off. And talk about speculation among speculation. I know we were going to talk about Mando Season 3, reportedly in production too. So this just begs a lot more questions, Brad. What are you thinking, man?
Well, the first thing I think of, man, whoever did this art, it's really, really well done. We're going to be diving into a lot of art this week on the show, or this episode of the show, I should say, rather. The first thing I thought was like, okay, well, it's got to be Luke's lightsaber. Because in the comic books, and this would tie into Comic-Con because it's a comic, Luke finds an old Jedi Temple Guard lightsaber and uses them in the current run of some of the Star Wars comics. So it's not outside of the realm of possibility for that to be the kyber crystal that powers that Jedi Temple Guard. So what I thought initially, when I first looked at it, the first thing I noticed was was Grogu, and he looks a little older. I can't tell if he looks taller. He kind of looks like a little thicker, maybe with all the snacks he's been eating. But my first thought was, okay, that's Luke Skywalker's lightsaber. Then you look on his belt, and you can see that's his lightsaber's on his hip, the green one. This is very interesting because this almost looks like the concept art from the end of the show that they show.
Yep.
So I want to see somebody like put these pieces together and do like a Grogu's lightsaber, like what the pieces look like. You know what I mean? Like Photoshop the pieces together. Because I want to know what Grogu's lightsaber is. That might be the next lightsaber to come to Galaxy's Edge, dude. They might just bypass. I mean, you want to talk about a lightsaber that would sell insanely well? I mean, like, insanely well. You put Grogu's there.
Grogu's, yeah.
I mean,
you say this is Grogu's lightsaber. You're going to see it in the upcoming season of Mandalorian Season 3.
Yep, and that's not really a spoiler because they showed it here. So, I mean,
right.
Unless this is just a, like my question is this just like an artistic representation of this? Or is this something that is hinting at something greater? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because the yellow kyber crystal is the most interesting thing to me. Because could that be the lightsaber kyber crystal that Rey gets later?
Oh,
there's a reason they're showing this specifically. They could have put any color. I do think yellow is the best for the like aesthetically for this piece because it's kind of like a brown and like muted tones other than Grogu. Everything's kind of like darker. I think the yellow works really well. But this is, I mean, dude, this is one of the most interesting things I've seen from Star Wars in a long, long time.
Yeah, this is nuts, and it's crazy. We didn't see much of the yellow kyber crystal lightsabers, and then all of a sudden Rey popped that one out, and now we're getting it with an official poster for Comic-Con. So the concept art.
That's where I'm confused. It's an official poster for what? For Comic-Con? Are they hosting like a Star Wars panel at Comic-Con that I didn't know about? That's what I'm confused about.
I know. Well, Comic-Con kicked off today, and you know my beloved DC's not there, so I'm really not paying attention that much.
I'm not. I
didn't know too much about Star Wars being there, but as just a quick review of Star Wars at Comic-Con, at least from today, there's apparently 10 highlights and reveals from the Star Wars High Republic panel at Comic-Con at home. So that's something that we might be able to review and kind of certainly dive into.
Absolutely.
Did you hear anything about that?
No, I didn't even know that was happening.
Yeah.
I don't tune into Comic-Con or any convention unless I'm going to it because it just kind of bums me out, and I'll eventually hear about it. You know, I don't pay attention to anything on social media anymore whatsoever. I didn't even know Comic-Con was going up until today because that was the day that the Negaduck statue that I got today was coming out. Like that's my extent of it. I do still think I meant to put these on my vintage collection list. We need some High Republic vintage collection.
Oh, good call out.
I meant to put those on there, but yeah. Was the Clone Wars thing part of No, that was a Walmart exclusive.
Yeah, those are Walmart exclusives. Okay. Yeah. I
mean,
but
I don't understand the point of this. Like, and I don't mean that in a mean way.
Con.
Say it again.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to say Walmart's doing the Collector Con because it's Comic-Con weekend.
Gotcha. Okay, so it's kind of like in tandem with Comic-Con almost.
A little bit, yeah.
Little competition the same way they did like when Amazon did Prime Day. They're like, well, look at this. We've got some amazing deals too. What a coincidence.
Pretty much. It's like, buy from us.
Jeff Bezos is in space. Who cares? Buy from Walmart. We're grounded.
Oh, people care about Jeff Bezos being in space. They've been bitching up a storm about how he spends his money. Leave the man alone.
Why do you care how he spends his money? You're the one that gave him the money. If you've ever purchased from Amazon, you have nothing to... The last thing is like people will bitch about all these things and then they're like, headed to Walmart to go grab groceries. Like, okay, well then don't complain about it. Like,
hey, Linda, remember when it was 2 a.m. and you were frothing at the mouth for nacho cheese Doritos and you got the pack of 30 off of Amazon and it showed up in 3 hours?
Yeah,
you could thank Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, shut up. I mean, okay. It's so weird to me that because like Jeff Bezos wasn't always Jeff Bezos. He became that because of success. And how did he become successful? Because people paid attention and used his products and services. Like at what point Amazon, like everyone's evil who makes money is so weird to me. I don't understand it. It's a different discussion for another time, but I just find it very odd that anyone would care. I remember Tim Tracker got attacked a few years ago because he was wearing like an $800 Mickey Gucci sweater, and people were like, that's so frivolous, and I was like, I don't dislike Tim. I think Tim's a really, really nice guy, and this is all I'll say about his videos, and it's not anything negative. His videos are just not for me. I just don't personally. Mm-hmm. I don't personally watch any YouTube videos about Disney parks. I live here. I make my own. I don't need to watch someone else's stuff. But I think I know Tim. You know, I know we're not friends by any stretch, but we're not we don't dislike each other, but we're just not friends, right? But he's always been super kind to me. He's a good dude, and I defended him even when I was not like a huge fan of him at the time. But like, I just don't understand why anyone cares how anyone spends their money. Let someone come at me for buying an action figure. I will eviscerate you. You don't want to do that. I promise you. Mind your own business and don't worry about you. It's not like if he didn't go to space, he was going to send you a check. Like, why do you care? He's worth more money than he could ever spend in 150 lifetimes. Let the man go to space. He could be more charitable probably, but that's not our decision. Leave him alone.
Right.
All right. Back to Star Wars. I just don't understand the point of this poster. Like, it's just... I think this poster was literally just dropped as to be like, okay. and then like talk about it and let the internet blow up. Because I don't know if this is like trending or anything, but this is a really friggin' cool poster. I want one. Are they selling
Oh,
them?
I want. It's if it's officially licensed. Typically, stuff from Comic-Con is going to be exclusive. I'm sure if they're exclusive at Comic-Con, they're going to show up at eBay.
I will be purchasing one if it's reasonable. I like those.
Is Comic-Con in person this year, or is it all at home
I
again?
have no clue. It has to be in person, right?
I would hope. I mean,
It is in San Diego,
It
though.
is in
So
San
like
Diego, yeah.
over in what'd you call it?
California.
California. That's what it was. Oh Christ Almighty! All right, man. I wish I had more to say about this, but I'm more or less confused.
It just begs a lot of questions, but they're good questions because this poster's badass.
The poster is badass. I really, really like it. I'm just confused as to its purpose. But all right, moving on from one piece of artwork to another one that was released this week. We finally got. I guess finally is a weird word, but this release from Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser kind of falls in line with what they did for Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. I just don't understand why they're not selling these posters somewhere. Like the Galaxy's Edge poster for this was amazing, and you can't buy it anywhere. It doesn't exist. It's just digital art, which I guess is fine. But like, I would love to hang these on my wall. These Star Wars posters are great. So what we're gonna do and spend I would imagine quite a bit of time on this podcast breaking down the artwork for Star Cruiser, because there's a few things that I noticed right off the jump, and I want you to go first because there's stuff that I noticed that I don't know if you noticed, and I'm curious to see what you noticed, but I want you to go first. So when you first looked at this, what was the first thing that like you kind of went about?
Oh, the first thing I went about, and it was the. So you're looking at this Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser poster. You know, you see Kylo, you see, I call it the Hammerhead. That's the actually it's the actual Halcyon Star Cruiser in the upper left. You see Chewie, and then you see a bunch of people.
That's not what that is. That's not what that is.
That's not the Halcyon Star Cruiser.
No, that's the ITS transport shuttle from Rise.
Oh no! Oh duh! Oh, they say right here the Halcyon Star Cruiser in the upper left corner.
That's definitely the Rise vehicle. That's not the shape of the Halcyon.
I'm looking at the article right now. They call it the Halcyon Star Cruiser in the upper left corner is your home for this 2-night adventure, right? There's no other ship in the upper left corner. I see a TIE fighter, but we're not sleeping in a TIE fighter.
My whole thing of that was it looked like the ITS transport shuttle.
It's just a little bit thinner than the ITS transport shuttle.
That's not what I remember it looking like. I remember it looking like a long, like when they showed it at D23, it looked like almost like Dryden Voss's yacht. I guess it is. Okay, it's the angle.
Yeah.
Because here's the picture that I remembered. I'm gonna send it to you real quick over on Instagram.
Okay.
Because this is the picture that I remember, and this is not what. Okay, my apologies, because I was sitting here going, that does not look like the Halcyon.
Oh,
and this is
you're good.
This is why. But yeah, I still think it doesn't look like it. Like the front looks weird. Maybe they just revised the design or something. But it looks a lot like the ITS transport shuttle.
It does. I can 100% see that. Oh yeah, I see what you're saying with the picture you just sent me.
Yeah, it looks completely different from that. Like even the length of it.
It really does, doesn't it? Interesting.
Yeah, it looks smaller. I mean that thing looks like it's supposed to be pretty large.
Well, it's got to be. It's going to fit a whole bunch of people in space.
That building's tiny, dude.
Yeah. Is it? It's been a while since I've peeked at some of those aerial shots.
Oh, you got to drive by it. You can drive right by it.
Oh, duh! I can drive by it now. Yeah,
you'll
look
be
at
here.
that.
You'll be here. You can drive by it every single day. Okay, so I thought that
That's
was
right.
okay. So the reason I thought that was interesting was because, and I'll let you get back to it in a second. But since I thought that was the Rise vehicle, I was like, okay, so are we like going to pass the ITS transport shuttle while we're on the Star Cruiser? Are we going to like? My thought would be like you're going to like try to hide it from the Resistance so they can land on Batuu. Like, I want to know, this has to take place like right before Galaxy's Edge, right? So that was my thought. I was like, okay, so does this include a ride on Rise of the Resistance? Like, what are they nodding at here?
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, and I also noticed on the top right behind Kylo Ren's head, is that a planet?
looks like a moon and planet.
Huh.
Yeah, it's
Interesting.
definitely
Okay.
something. It's
Interesting.
definitely
And
something.
I
But
also thought it was the transport shuttle too because it's of the TIE fighters, and that's like a scene from the ride. So it looks
oh
like
yeah.
maybe this is going to come under attack at
Oh,
some point. I swear to God, I thought that was the Resistance transport shuttle. Even the colors are the exact same.
they are. That's the first thing that threw me off. Were the colors of the actual like transport shuttle because it does look like that. But if they didn't call it the Halcyon Star Cruiser, I could see how you can completely
I
just,
also didn't read the
especially if you
article.
glance at it.
I also didn't read what you're reading. So that's part of the problem. All right, go on. Sorry, that's what I
Yeah.
thought that was.
Okay, so when you see Kylo, you see Chewie in the Halcyon Star Cruiser, you see a bunch of people, one little Padawan wielding a blue lightsaber with an R2 unit in the middle. And then the thing that really caught my eye, and I first zoomed in on, and I was trying to see, is that a server um, in full get up serving that family
It's what it
at
looks
dinner?
like.
So
Yeah.
our cast members going to be, really deep into the Star Wars story? Are they going to look like they're from a different planet than
I don't see how
being
you could
positioned to
feasibly
be?
do that unless they're wearing like a morph suit and then paint their face.
Yeah,
I think that's part of the problem because we were supposed to see that in Galaxy's Edge, which was just like roaming characters all around the land. One thing I also noticed is it looks like Jen Erso is in the photo. The chick with like the hood on looks just like the costume for Jen
Oh
Erso.
yeah, yeah. If you don't zoom in on her face, it does look like Jin.
Yeah, we zoom in, it's definitely not Jen, but like
Yeah.
the other thing I noticed in that picture that you're talking about is the stormtroopers right above them shooting
Yeah.
at something in the distance. So like, are they going to like? This almost feels like a 3-day Rise of the Resistance.
What
Which,
do
if
you?
that's the case,
So,
man, I'm so in.
oh, well, yeah, sign me up for 4 weeks straight, and I don't care what work says.
I'm
What
working
what's
from I'm
so?
working from Batu.
Yeah, I'm working from about too. The signal kind of sucks, and the emails send about 40 minutes late. But
I also might not
um,
respond, but
hey, neither here nor there. Um, so the bottom right of the poster. There's the very much anticipated. Looks like the lightsaber training.
yes.
The obviously a nice callback to A New Hope with Luke training. So are we training for a specific reason? Those stormtroopers in the poster are clearly shooting at somebody, some people, and then you see the one younger guest of the, Star Cruiser. What are we exactly training for? Do you ever think? I mean, this might be way too much, but could we ever see a stormtrooper? I don't know. Kind of have to shoot at a guest, and the guest take the lightsaber that they just used for training and knock a bolt back at them.
That would be amazing.
Right.
I noticed something about the lightsabers too. I don't know if you picked up on this, but the guy who's like near the First Order officer, that is
Yeah.
very clearly a Savi's lightsaber. I actually almost have that exact lightsaber. And the one,
Oh yeah, it is.
the one that the other kid is using to deflect the blaster bolt is not Savi's. So I thought that you would, they would make it, where hey, you could buy a $200 lightsaber and you can use it for lightsaber training, but that clearly is not going to happen. I don't know how they would do that, but I just kind of figured they would try to incorporate that somehow, so you can pull your own lightsaber out and train with your lightsaber.
Ooh, with your Savi saber.
Yeah, but I guess that's not going to happen. Which I'm okay with. I'm not like bummed out about it. But back to
Right.
the dinner scene. So they made
Yeah.
they showed like the hollow sabak, and I was always kind of like, how is that gonna work? Also, point out the guests are wearing themed clothing as well. They are in Star Wars get-ups. They're not just in like a T-shirt that says Star Wars. They're themed. I'm wondering how that's gonna pan out.
Does that mean we get to dress up finally?
Dude, that would be awesome. That's what I've heard, actually. That's the rumor going around, that is like they're going to give you clothes to wear while you're there.
Okay.
But I also noticed it looks like there's like a Dejeric chessboard. But this bummed me out. This is actually the first thing I noticed because I'm such a dork. They were like showing like hollow sabak, and this is just like a chessboard that you can buy on Batu. So that could just be like a stand-in thing, but I was under the impression that we are going to get like some hollow sabak or hollow Dejeric, like actually real. But I guess we'll see what happens when we actually get to go. But that was the first thing I noticed. I was like, oh, they kind of cheapened out on that. The other thing I noticed is the R2 droid looks very different from any other R2 droid I've ever seen before.
I like the color scheme.
I do too. The orange and black and.
Yeah.
Did you notice the antenna on his head?
It's a little. It's in the wrong place, isn't it?
It's just it's like off to the side instead of like on the back. I'm wondering if that's just like theming for them to be able to do remote control.
That could be, yeah.
That's my thought. Also, what is this chick that looks like Jen Erso? What is she holding? I can't tell what that is.
Is it so for those listeners? If you pull up the poster, it's some sort of squared box. It's a little thinner with a black circle and a red light in the middle of it. I mean, it looks very Star Wars-y. Is it a detonator? Is it some sort of binoculars? Is it?
You know what I thought? I thought maybe it was like. Then I remembered what time period this was. I was like, oh no, we're gonna have to like steal the plans to Starkiller Base.
Oh,
but that wouldn't make sense because this is unless they theme it before that.
No, they won't. They won't because look at the. If you look, like we know this is in the Batu timeline. If you look at the bottom, on the sides of the Galactic Star Cruiser, you see the spires of Batu. So
it would also it also wouldn't make sense to like then teleport time 2 years down the road. That was my first thought. I was like, oh no, we're gonna like be maybe there's like maybe they're gonna make another Starkiller Base. And we stole the plans. That's why they're chasing him.
Hey, whatever. If I get to blow up a Starkiller Base, that'd be cool.
Can I just pitch you what I think the story's going to be on this?
Please.
So I think what's going to be happening is we're just like you're going to be like basically boarding a cruise ship in space, right? We know that to be true. You get on board, and then I think you're going to run into this character on your, the character holding the little whatever the crap that thing is. Something that the First Order is looking for, and I think that you're going to encounter her really early on, like when you blast off, because like apparently you go to the lobby, they put you on this little like shuttle that then brings you like hydrolator style up to the actual Halcyon, and like an escape pod kind of thing, and then when you unload, you're going to be like checking your baggage and stuff in and getting assigned to your rooms, and the First Order is going to be looking for this person who's going to be like trying to hide, and they're going to be looking for this person. And I think that's why you see the Halcyon up here getting attacked. I think they're gonna go. She's on the Halcyon ship, and you're gonna get away from them. And they're how people in the Halcyon are gonna try to like protect this person with whatever information she has, and you're gonna have to like protect her.
Okay, I like it. I mean, it's kind of like holding some sort of rebel spy.
Yeah, exactly. And you're gonna have the rebel spy, and you're gonna have to like rendezvous her to the Resistance, which happens to be on Batu right now. Because Batu shouldn't be a place that we would go because it's supposed to be like a Tijuana of space. so I don't know. That's just my first thoughts of that. I am very curious about like the food on the ship. I want to know if it's like all included, because I'll be damned if they're going to charge you what they call cruise ship like it's like a cruise ship. It's one price for the whole time. Okay, cool. Then I also want food at any time I want it. I want drinks anytime I want it. Like. They cannot skimp on this.
If they charge cruise prices, and you better believe that my fat red ass is going to eat from that buffet until I shit and puke at the same time.
I feel you, dude. And I'm going to get the drink package, and I'm going to drink all the alcoholic blue milk I can stomach before I get diabetes. What do you think? Does this get you more excited? Does it? I mean, are you itching for this? Because I'm. Honestly, I'm still not that excited. I'm getting
really.
Dude. The thing is, like, I kind of like in my head know that like when I get to do this, it's going to be a once in a lifetime thing. It's so outrageously expensive. It's going to be hard as crap to get into. It's not something you're going to be able to do once a year. It's going to be like once every 3 or 4 years, if that. It might be a one and done. I was more excited for Galaxy's Edge because I was like, I live down the street. It's a park. I can go in whenever. I can do whatever I want. Anytime I can go. This is like, I'm almost like, I don't want to be too excited because I'm not going to get to do it again. Like, I'm just like, I'm going to have this awesome 3 days. Like, I actually don't think it's going to be that great. I think it's going to be really, really fun, but I just don't see how they can entertain you for that long. Like, there has to be, like, there's only so long, because the buildings, it's not like it's a big, massive hotel that you can explore a lot. There's only a few things to do on this 3-day thing. I don't know how much of that's going to be Batu, but I'm not interested in that at all. Unless I have to go, I'm not going to Batu during this. Because I can just go, okay, I rode Rise of the Resistance. Now, like, I've ridden it 80 times. Like, I know the story. I can incorporate that experience into whatever the story is going forward. I want to hang on the ship. I want to do things. I want to eat. I want to hang out. I want to hang out with Chewie. I want to, fight Kylo Ren. I want to talk to the First Order officers. I want to be immersed. I don't want to go do something I can go do in 3 days for free, essentially.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, my excitement level is higher than yours right now, just because I do have high anticipations for this, or my anticipation is high rather for this. I have high expectations, I should say. So I'm looking for them to essentially deliver, because they've been pumping this up for how long? How long since they've actually announced it?
Yeah.
And this was supposed to be open already, right? But
yeah, it was supposed to be open
and,
in time for the 50th. So
okay, so
we should be.
there.
Yeah, we should be there already.
Yeah.
The price point on this is just going to be what there's rumors floating around, but all those rumors are contradictory to what Disney has said is going to be. Like, I saw those, like, well, there's this price for a 3-day, and then there's this price for a 4-day, and they're like, no, it's a 2-day experience from, like a hotel. You get in at 4, you leave at 10 2 days later. So that's a lot of entertainment for them to figure out how to do. I actually wouldn't be surprised if you see this get delayed again, because playtesting is they're gonna have to do a lot of playtesting for this thing.
Well, if anything, speaking of behind the attraction that got released this week, that we should be talking about later, and them saying Imagineers always want to push the limit. Well, here's a chance for you guys to push the limit. Disney, push the limit. See what you can actually accomplish. This is something we've never experienced before.
Yeah.
This is something brand spanking new that you're blowing Universal out of the water with this. They're what could they? I mean, they could counter with some sort of Hogwarts type of thing. Which
I've said that from day one. They should just have like an Art of Animation type hotel with 4 different wings that are themed slightly different, and have it be Hogwarts.
Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't. I'm not saying that's the easy, cheap way to do it, but like you could charge a lot of money for those rooms. I mean, Disney does. They do it with the family suites. Like, make little Hogwarts suites. I mean, or you could
so many people.
Right, or you could just do. I mean, or they could do something like this. But this is. I almost actually think this is like too ambitious. And the only reason I say that is because they just haven't stuck the landing on Galaxy. I think that's part of the reason why I'm not like super jazzed about it, is because they overpromised and underdelivered on Galaxy's Edge hardcore. I love Galaxy's Edge. I think it's the greatest theme park attraction or theme park land of all time. I think the 2 attractions in there are fantastic. Falcon, not quite as much. But we'll talk about it when they've mentioned it in the Imagineering documentary too, but we'll talk about it more when Star Tours comes up when we talk about behind the attraction. It wasn't even close to ready until 6 months before the land opened, which is insane to me. But
that's nuts.
It's insane. But if you look at the Art of Book, they just had so many amazing ideas that never made it out. Did you happen to watch the panel I told you about the other day yet?
Not quite yet. It's on my watch list once we're done packing this weekend.
Cool. They had, and if I can just point them out to you in Galaxy's Edge, they had already built platforms in, and they were going to have street fights in the streets above you on Batu randomly throughout the day. Like, not like a time show. Like, they'd have some like poor college kid go, "Hey, run across the platform up there, and 2 stormtroopers are going to chase you." And like these little mini shows, and I mean mini like 15 seconds. Like, and they showed, what's it called when you have fight choreography? They showed the fight choreography for it. Like, they had it that planned out, and then just abandoned it last second. My fear with this is, yeah, the rooms are going to be themed. The ship's going to be cool. The when you look out into space, that's going to be really cool. But are they going to be able to entertain you for 3 days without cheaping out? Because if I'm spending it's one thing to go to a theme park and spend $150 and to be like, I think the expectation is going to be different. That's what I'm trying to get at. If you spend $150 on a one-day ticket to Hollywood Studios and you get to experience half the land, like what I saw was really great, but I didn't get to do both things. That's one thing. But if I'm spending, what I'm hearing is like $3,500 a person for 2 days, or $2,500 a person for 2 days, it's insane, dude. Like, you better come hard, and there better be unique food and dining options that are different from what we see on Batuu. I better be entertained and feel like I'm in Star Wars for the entire time I'm there and then some. Like, I want it to feel like a 3-day Rise of the Resistance, and I just don't know if they can deliver that. I hope I'm wrong. I was wrong about High Republic. No one on this planet would be happier to be wrong on this than me. Like, I would absolutely love to be wrong and go and like cry like I did on Rise of the Resistance. Like, this is the most amazing thing ever. I just don't know how they're going to do it, man. I'm
Dude,
skeptical hippo eyes over here.
For that price, Anakin Skywalker better bleach my asshole.
Right? Dude, I better get blown by Padme, all right? You better bring her back from the dead.
I didn't go that far. I mean, I just want Anakin to bleach my asshole. I didn't go that far.
I honestly don't know which one's weirder.
It's a good point.
But yeah, man, like don't get me wrong. I want to do this, and I'm gonna do this. I might have to, put off buying a house for a year to do it. But
we went and did some more. Damn it.
Don't get me wrong. I'm gonna do this, but like, it's just, I don't want to go in cynical, but I'm just. Especially, I feel like if we sat down and I watched your expressions when you're looking at what could have been at Galaxy's Edge, you're just gonna get pissed, and then you'll go like, "I see why you're upset." I also just know that they've cut corners on everything, and it's like, so what? Why is this one now more special? Because you're charging people more for it? Like, you're still making a crap ton of money off Galaxy's Edge. It also just feels like they're just everything that didn't get put into Galaxy's Edge, like the restaurant, they're just kind of throwing here as like this catch-all, like, oh, you didn't see it at Galaxy's Edge, but wait till you go to the Star Cruiser and you're on the Halcyon. It's like, well, hey, man, why not just make it at Galaxy's Edge and then do a different thing for the Halcyon? Like,
well, then do it. Deliver, Disney. This is Star Wars that you're giving us. This isn't like Toy Story Land again, right?
Yeah.
Where you're gonna exceed expectations no matter what, because you got people who sniff glue who like to ride Slinky Dog.
How dare you?
I'm not bashing Slinky Dog. That was just a joke I was trying to make. I like the Slinky Dog roller coaster.
I do too. It's great. I know what you mean. I'm just kidding. But yeah, man, like, if I'm not in Star Wars clothes, I'm going to be annoyed. I'll bring my own, but I shouldn't have to for $3,000 a night, like, or whatever the hell it is. I honestly don't know if they can charge that. I mean, that's insane. You have to do this fine line of like it being a premier, like, highly detailed, highly themed experience, but that's a shit ton of money. And like, think about like, and the thing is too, like, if you're on the Star Cruiser, from what I've heard, like, the only place you go to is Hollywood Studios for Batuu. I actually wouldn't even be surprised if they like make you stay together as a group and you don't get to venture outside of Batuu, because then that breaks the Star Wars immersion. Like, from what I have understood, there's no riding a bus to Magic Kingdom. There's no going to Epcot. Like, if you want to do that, cool. When you check in at the Polynesian in 3 days, you can go do that crap. This is Star Wars. So
I really think that they're going to get people on Rise of Resistance without a boarding group.
you have to, for this kind of money.
Yeah. For this, yeah.
I mean, you kind of like, I don't see how you can't. I mean, Jesus.
What if, hear me out on this, what if they're waiting for the Galactic Star Cruiser to ditch boarding groups for Rise, and then they open standby, and then they replace boarding groups or whatever with the Galactic Star Cruiser by pulling those groups in because they're going to have a lot of people to bring to Rise, and it's almost going to act like a fast pass lane.
Yeah, I would agree. I think what they would do is just take you through the fast pass lane if you're on Star Cruiser and just keep it the same way. Because if they were going to do that, I think they would have already done that, and you wouldn't see the virtual queue at Disneyland, and you also then wouldn't see Spider-Man have a virtual queue, which, I hate virtual queues. I think it is the antithesis of like choice. It is so infuriating that, like, oh, these rides are so special that you have to get up at 4 a.m. and hop in this. I mean, I'm being dramatic, but like, hop in this virtual queue because it's too popular. We can't open the fucking thing up. open the fucking standby queue. All right, no one like for the first few months, sure, while you're getting all the kinks worked out and your help, the cast members are learning. It's been almost 2 years for Rise, right?
Uh,
Or a year? No, it's been more than that.
end of 2019 for no. It's been closer to a year. It's been closer to a year.
No, when did Rise open up? Was it right before the pandemic? It was, wasn't it? Right before. It was December before the pandemic, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, still, I mean, a year is insane. Like, I just don't like virtual queues. Like, the fact, and just proof enough, like, the busiest attraction and consistently busy is Peter Pan's Flight at Magic Kingdom. It is always a 90-minute wait, no matter when you go.
Yep.
That doesn't have a virtual queue. Like, just, I mean, it's going to be busy. And then, but, like, let people, like, my thing is, like, if someone wants to go spend 8 hours in line, if the line's a posted 8-hour wait and those people wait in line, it's fine. You didn't care when Anna and Elsa were meeting at Magic Kingdom and there was an 8-hour wait to meet two characters. There wasn't a virtual queue for that. Like, let it be. If it's people will go, I don't want to wait for that. They'll self-regulate. I'm not waiting. I'll tell you right now, I would. Rise of Resistance is the most amazing attraction I've ever been on. There is no chance in fucking hell I would wait 8 hours for that ride under any circumstance. It's gonna self-regulate. Like, people will be at hospitals and go, fuck that, I'm not waiting 4 hours in line. The only thing that I would say virtual queue helps are people like me who can wake up, get one, and then show up later in the day. It doesn't help anybody else. People who are there would much rather wait for 4 hours than have to panic about not getting the first group and then panic about missing out the second time and then have to, go to guest relations and be like, hey, they don't do anything for you now. It's not a way you want to spend a vacation, stressing about if I'm going to get on this one ride. It's stupid.
It is. It's stressful.
I hate it. I hate it. I think it is the worst thing to come to theme parks ever. I mean, I would rather pay for Fast Pass than I would wait and have a virtual queue for an attraction. I think it's just stupid.
I paid for Disneyland's Max Pass every time, and I loved it.
It's worth every penny. And I was my parents were talking about this because my dad told me, I didn't even know this. My dad told me the other day that when Disneyland Paris reopened, they went to a paid Fast Pass service, which means for sure it's going to come here to Disney World.
The Priority Pass or something, whatever they're
Premier Pass?
Yeah. Or
Premier Access?
Premier Pass, yeah.
Premier Access?
Premier Access. Yeah.
But I pay for Max Pass too. Max Pass works. And I was telling my dad, I was like, when I went to Disneyland and bought Max Pass, I was a cast member here. So, I know the tricks and, not tricks, but that's kind of a stupid thing to say. But, I know, when's the best time to go on these rides and blah, 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 blah.
Sure.
And I know how to use Fast Pass and use it well. It's just way better. The only problem you're going to have is you're going to have a lot of people who use Fast Pass for 25, 30 years, however long it's been around, 20 years maybe, I don't know, that are going to really push back against this.
Yep.
But I will also say Disney was the only theme park in the world that I'm aware of where Fast Passes were not paid for. But again, Disney is supposed to set the trends, not follow them, right? Like, Disney used to be the leaders, like in something like Fast Pass. When you go to Universal, it's paid. You pay for whatever quick pass you want or whatever the hell. I don't even know what they call it. But Express Pass, yeah, and every other theme park charges. But I just don't think Disney shouldn't do what every other theme park does, is because they're not every other theme park. Like, the way Fast Pass is the way they had it with My Disney Experience were really confusing. I worked on the guest experience team, right? 95% of the people I talked to was fixing their screwed up My Disney Experience because nobody could use Fast Pass. So if you have a Fast Pass system that actually works, I think you'd be better off paying for it than, I think it's hard. It's a hard thing for me to admit, but I think paid Fast Passes would make it fair across the board.
I would agree. I want to segue real quick into a listener question because they asked what we thought on the Star Cruiser itself specifically. But they also asked if we're going to be looking to be going to this the first year opens. So, I'll answer quick because I'd like to hear your thoughts on it too, Brad. But I'm going to try to get in definitely the first year. This will be my first year. Wife and I are in Orlando, in Florida, living there. I want to experience everything that Disney World has thrown at us, like firsts, right? As soon as Tron drops, I'm going to try to be there. Ratatouille, going to try to be there. I'm really looking forward to that kind of stuff. So I want to do this year one.
Shout out to Rhonda James for asking us that question. Thank you. We're going to do these listener questions whenever we can. I know a lot of people don't listen to Star Wars podcasts who are in our Facebook group, but anyway, thank you for the question. My plan, if everything goes according to plan, I'd like to do this opening weekend. And I'd love to be like the first. Like, I would love to go in and like, I like to do that because then nothing gets spoiled for me. Like, I have friends that text me stuff and I'm like, why would you stop? Why would you text me that? Brian, leave me Cody, leave me alone. Not in a mean way, but like, don't tell me this. Like, stop it. I've had to like go like, hey, quit spoiling shit for me, please. I'll see it. And I just know that like, that's why I wanted to be on Galaxy's Edge opening day at Disneyland, even though it was coming here 2 months later, whatever the hell it was, 3 months later, because I was like, I don't want this spoiled for me because I know I'll see it and I know I won't be able to not watch a video on it. So I want to do this as quickly as possible. So yes, I plan on doing this as quickly as I can, and that's why I would like to announce that we have a GoFundMe page where you can go you can fund our trip to the Halcyon, and the link is I'm kidding, that's not real, but yeah, man, I really do plan on doing this as soon as possible. As much as I'm kind of like, I don't want to say shitting on it, but like I'm not like super jazzed about it. I know it's going to be. Maybe it's just I'm so dumb that I can't imagine how cool it's going to be. And they're like, just trust us, you'll like it. But
we'll see. I mean, your concerns are valid. You're not just completely shitting on it to shit on it, like my podcast partner Kyle Costantino does and shits on The Last Jedi. And in fact, if you want to open up a GoFundMe, Brad, you can go right ahead. Every dollar that anybody submits to our GoFundMe to stay at the Galactic Star Cruiser, I will kick Kyle Costantino in the balls.
wow.
$1, kick him in the balls.
$1 per nut kick?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
You give me $10, I'm kicking him 10 times in the balls.
How about this? If we do a GoFundMe, what I will do, I will buy. We will pick everyone who enters and donates even $1. Name will go in a hat, and we will raffle off something, an exclusive, high-end piece of exclusive merchandise to one person. We'll pick you out of a hat. And how's that sound? That sounds fair, right? You might get a free retractable lightsaber for donating $1 to my GoFundMe.
That's true.
I know I'm not going to do that. I might. Who knows? If I'm that desperate and I don't have the money and I don't have $4,000 to go do this, we might have to make some. I might get an OnlyFans, start selling photos of my feet. Only toes. All right, let's move on to the next thing. We talked about the Star Cruiser for like 30 minutes. I knew we talked about it for a little bit.
And that's fine. There was some hot button Star Wars news, and it's Friday. Have you watched Bad Batch yet, Brad?
I have not. I actually forgot it came out today, to be perfectly honest with you. My week has been so wild. I didn't even realize it was Friday until I found out the kids were on their way, and I was like, "Oh, it's Friday, sweet."
Hey.
So did you watch it?
I did. Once off of work, I caught it. Do you want the non-spoilerly version or spoiler version?
Dude, I don't care. Spoil it.
Spoiler.
What is it? Was it intense? Was it like good?
No.
Spoiler. I don't care.
Yeah, it was. There was nothing to spoil. The best part about the episode, they're still with Sid, and this time they had to save Sid. But I think they're getting off the planet. First and foremost, I want to say from last week's Bad Batch episode at the end, Crosshair was about to fuck some shit up.
Yeah.
It's on, and let down this episode with no Crosshair. I was ready for it. But we didn't get any Crosshair again. So I get that they're waiting, they're 2 or 3 episodes left, something like that. Maybe more. This was episode 13. So I think we're getting
16. So there's 3 more weeks.
Yeah.
This show has just been a dud for me, man. Like, other than bringing back Cad Bane, the show's done almost nothing.
I mean, I've appreciated the slow character development. I've appreciated, liking Omega more and more. I've appreciated, characters like Wrecker and the connections to Rebels. And, now I'm just ready for things to kick into high gear, like end of season 7 Clone Wars, or even end of season 2 Rebels. Like, do what you do well, Star Wars animation. Give us something. Cad Bane's not done. Fennec Shan's definitely not done. Crosshair is about to fuck shit up with his boys. So this episode, the best part about this episode were the Pikes coming back and being kind of a menacing crime group and really tormenting Sid. And his name is escaping me, but he's the son of a crime lord, and he just took Sid's parlor over. So the Bad Batch had to help Sid get it back by stealing spice that he was going to sell to the Pikes. And so essentially, long story short, they stole the spice, but the Pikes figured out who took it, so they were trying to get the spice back. Bad Batch eventually got the spice back to them, and they were being attacked by these bug creatures. I was trying to find, I always try to find something positive and optimistic in these episodes to say, all right, how did they move along the story, or how did they build character? So I think, if I'm just guessing right with this episode, they went, okay, Sid and the Bad Batch have a better relationship than just pimp and hoe, where they're pimping them out every week and they're getting paid to do a job. It's like, okay, now they saved her, so maybe they're friends now. But it's, long story short, one of the more forgettable episodes of the Bad Batch this season. I'm just ready for Crosshair and them to go toe to toe. Let's get Tarkin back, and let's see, more remnants of these troopers, these Imperial recruits that are coming through. I also want to know a little bit more about Hauser's fate. Are they going to, because last episode Hauser laid down his gun and helmet and said, no more, this isn't right. We used to protect these people. I'm not going to take him in. And he got taken away. So are they going to experiment on him and try to, get him to obey and team him up with Crosshair to be, super dangerous too? Or is Hauser going to lead? And I think you got to help me out with this one, Brad. I don't know Legends all that well. I think there was a Legends story that's not canon about a clone uprising. They might be actually thinking about making like some sort of secondary clone uprising happen. But this was last episode with Hauser. So I want to see more of that. So give me more Crosshair with Bad Batch. Give me more Hauser. But this episode was forgettable. So, I mean, you could watch it, but maybe watch it in the background.
Gotcha. Dude, that's been my, I remember when before this was coming out, therefore, this is a masterclass in Star Wars. Dude, if you think this is what people want to see when it comes to Star Wars content, you might not need to be, all the people that, praise him as this, genius Star Wars storyteller, it's like, hang on, man. Jon Favreau is one who did most of The Mandalorian, okay? If the best he can bring to the table is this Bad Batch show and Clone Wars Season 7, because up until the last 3 episodes it was trash, he might not be the guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To boast about, and to do Resistance as well. That guy gets, him and George Lucas, just, you guys cannot get off those dudes' nuts. George Lucas is not a great filmmaker. He made 1.5 good films out of 4. Even Phantom Menace, there's some good stuff in it, but he is a good storyteller. He is not a good filmmaker. There is a difference. Dave Filoni might be a really good storyteller, but it doesn't need to be told over 16 episodes. And how you don't get that when you see The Mandalorian do 6 cohesive episodes in the second season. First season, I've been pretty critical of the first season, I think, other than the first 3 episodes. And then the last episode or 2, it's kind of boring, even though Bill Burr's in it. Still, I stand by what I'm saying. I just don't get how how he's so gung-ho about this. And I don't get how everyone is just yeah, Dave Filoni. It's he's done what? How many episodes of the Clone Wars would you say are great?
Oh, how many are great?
Great. Because the original trilogy I'll give you half of Revenge of the Sith, and then the sequel trilogy are great.
Yeah. Oh, how many? I could probably pick if I sat down and went through the gallery, maybe 10 episodes out of 7 seasons, and
That's
most of
not
them are
good.
in season 7.
That's
I know.
not
I know.
a good ratio. That
Most of
is,
them are in season 7.
and it's like, why does everyone praise this? I like Dave Filoni, but why does everyone praise this dude like the second coming of George Lucas? He actually might be the second coming of George Lucas because George Lucas isn't that great to begin with, and I know that's going to piss off a lot of people. But if you look at and I'm not saying he didn't tell a good story. I said he made 2 good films. I'll give you 2 out of 4. Because remember, he didn't direct Empire Strikes Back, and he didn't direct Return of the Jedi. Look at just the movies he's made. And I would even argue that A New Hope is the weakest of those 3 original trilogy films.
Oh, it is. It is.
So, like, you're talking about, like,
100%.
a guy who's following in the footsteps of somebody who is, and I would, and Lucas is one of the people who I would freak out if I ever met. Like, I don't get starstruck that often. Like, I don't really care about fame. I've been around enough famous people when I was a comic. It doesn't faze me at all. But I would probably get a little nervous around any of the 3 surviving members from Led Zeppelin and George Lucas. I've met Dave Filoni. He's a nice guy. I like Dave Filoni. I'm talking about like the Uber people who were like, Kathleen Kennedy's got to go. Give it to Filoni. It's like, why? Why? Kathleen Kennedy is at least like made good content. She's not perfect. No one's perfect. And Dave Filoni's not perfect. I don't expect him to be perfect. But like, you can't tell me out of 7 seasons of like, how many episodes? Like 200 episodes? Like including, and like Rebels
right.
too, like we're talking like 250 episodes, 300 episodes or something. You got
Rebels
10
was
good
better
ones.
than Clone Wars.
Much better, because it was concise. It made sense. Like Clone Wars is a disaster. You have to like watch the shit in weird order. Like season 1 doesn't actually fall with season 1. It's so fucking weird. It doesn't make any sense. But it's, I don't know. I have my issue isn't Dave Filoni. My issue is people who like praise him for like godlike status when you're not making that great content, dude. Like if Favreau was saying if Jon Favreau came out and said Mandalorian season 3 is going to be a masterclass of Star Wars, I'd be like, oh shit, here we go. I don't feel that way from Filoni. Am I off on this? Am I just in a grumpy mood, Tom?
No, I don't think you're in a grumpy mood. I appreciate those because you're right. A lot of people push and Filoni is God, and I'm high on the Dave Filoni train too. I haven't hidden from that. I do appreciate a lot of what he does. He directed probably my favorite episode of The Mandalorian thus far, and The Jedi. But outside of that, no, you're right. He seems to do what he knows. What he does is good, and he tells good stories, and he's great with animation. But putting together something that isn't a convoluted mess, he might need a little bit of help on.
Yeah, and I think he knows Star Wars. I would say, but maybe second only to George Lucas. Like I'm not
better than Lucas.
Yeah, maybe, or actually at this point probably. Like I'm not doubting that. I'm not saying he's not talented. I don't think he's as great as everyone makes him out to be. That's all I'm saying. That was kind of a harsh way to put it, what I was saying earlier, but that's just kind of how I feel. Like he's fine. I don't think getting rid of Kathleen Kennedy is going to fix your problems. Also, people who bitch about Kathleen Kennedy love The Mandalorian, and that was Kathleen Kennedy. So like, I don't understand the yelling about Kathleen Kennedy. I know it's not what we're really talking about, but like, she's just a finance person. She just is a yes or a no person. Like she's not making things. She's a producer because she's the head of the studio. She's not actively making films or actively making TV shows. You can't give the blame to somebody who's not making the things. Filoni's making the stuff. Anyway. Speaking of things that may or may not be great, Mandalorian season 3 has been rumored to be in production. Where did you find out the rumors? Where did you hear this?
Where did I hear this? Oh, I'd have to go back and double check. It was reported on a pretty reputable website that reports on comic books. Let's see if they cited a source here. I'm going back to check as we speak. Look at me fill time like a pro.
Look at you killing it.
Look at me killing it. So, but even with it reportedly, the rumor being reported in production for season 3, because this is actually the second time I've heard this. With specifically people talking about Pedro Pascal. So on July 18th, comicbook.com is reporting this. Adam Barnhart is reporting this, and it hasn't been taken down yet. And they're claiming Mr. Pascal is one of the busiest men in Hollywood, which is, I don't think you're a big video game person, but he's filming The Last of Us right now.
Is he starring in that?
He is, yes.
Oh, that's a good call. I've never played it. I know the game, like I know the premise of it, and I know it's like a very well respected and like story driven game. And I know the story. I don't know like how it pans out, but I'm aware of the story. That's a good call.
So the news comes from a piece in the American Cinematographer that breaks down how crew members have been able to use the technology in new and innovative ways. They're talking about that specific technology that, if you remember watching the gallery on The Mandalorian, like that kind of circle vision.
Oh yeah, it's called the volume.
What was that?
It's called the volume.
Oh, volume. Got it. Oh, the volume. Yes, that's right. The volume complex, right? The volume complex, or something like that.
Yeah, whatever.
But anyway,
that little get up is called the volume.
Yeah. That awesome thing that they do.
It's amazing.
They're a lot of the same crew working on Kenobi right now. A lot of the same crew working on Mandalorian. And that's where they've cited in that American Cinematographer that Pedro Pascal is going to be jumping right from The Last of Us over to Mando Season 3. So that's where that rumor is poking up. Again, same crew working on Book of Boba Fett, so they're probably wrapping that up and jumping right over.
I wouldn't be shocked. I think I've said this before. I wouldn't be shocked if they like filmed some of Mandalorian alongside Book of Boba Fett.
I mean, why not?
I mean,
kill two birds with one stone.
If you're going to be going to those settings, which I think Mando is going to have to run into Boba Fett at some point. That would just seem weird if they just helped each other that one time and then dipped out. I'm sure he's going to come back to Tatooine at some point. But yeah, I'm even more curious now after we saw that poster about Mando Season 3.
Right?
I don't know. Here's what makes me think it's not true is that it didn't get taken down. Anytime someone posts something and then it disappears, that means it's true. Because they're like, no, don't say that. Take it down. So I don't know. The fact that it hasn't been taken down is kind of odd because I feel like if they were going to announce it, they would kind of do like, remember when Last Jedi was filming and they had that like now in production short and it just showed like the Skullig Michael Island where it's I know the name Skullig Michael Island, but I can't remember the freaking name of the planet where Luke is. Octo. And then just like, hey, episode 8's in production. I would assume they would do something like that because of the way that ended. You could just have him like walking in slow-mo in the distance without the child and like Mando Season 3 in production. If it is in production, we're going to hear about it soon, I would imagine. But I've told you off the podcast that I think this fall is going to be all about Boba Fett. I don't think you're going to hear anything about Andor. You're probably not going to see anything for Andor until Celebration, maybe. You might get a trailer before that, like a teaser trailer, but I don't think you're going to see any real stuff from that until May, and I bet you it comes out in like August next year.
Okay.
Maybe it will come out a little earlier. Maybe they'll just skip Celebration, and that Celebration that would have happened, that's where you would have seen some stuff, and they're just kind of waiting to see how, I don't know. There's so much stuff in production right now for Star Wars. Like we're like in this we're like the calm before the storm right now. There's not a ton of news because I think they're all waiting to just drop it all at once, it kind of feels like.
Well, we got ourselves a rumor from the Kenobi production about the return of the fifth brother. Does that make you hyped?
It does, man. I think of all the Inquisitors, this one makes the most sense to make the jump to live action. It's probably the most like grounded in reality. That wouldn't look like the Grand Inquisitor would look really strange from a jump from animation to live action. But the fifth brother one, this story is interesting to me. I know I've been pushing my version of the story for Anakin and Obi-Wan to have that conclusion, but I wasn't really thinking about until you mentioned the fifth brother coming into Obi-Wan about like his whole arc with like the Clone Wars and stuff. That's all canon too. So those ties have to be tied up as well. So I know I was pretty like, if it's not this story, I'm not interested. And I kind of still believe that, but not interested, just not as excited. But I'm in for this. I mean, it makes total sense that an Inquisitor would be hunting down Obi-Wan. We don't know what happens to the fifth brother. I'm in.
Yeah.
What do you think?
No, I'm in. I love the Inquisitors. I love the Inquisitors that you fight in Fallen Order. I love the Inquisitors from Rebels. I think they're just really cool, turned Jedis who are now hunting down Jedis. And I think it's kind of funny, but it's also pretty cool how they like travel to different places. They use their lightsabers as like helicopters.
I hate that.
You hate it?
It looks
Go gadget lightsaber.
Yeah. You know what? I like wanted to hate it, but it's so funny. Like I just can't. I can't hate it.
Anytime I see something like that when it's supposed to be serious and then it just makes me laugh, I just can't take it serious. Like, I'll see you later.
I can't wait.
I don't want to see that in live action. Please, dear God, no. Please, God, no.
No, I don't think they'll do that in live action, but I can't wait to see the saber hilts in live action.
Yeah, that'll be really cool.
Those hilts are badass.
They are.
And I can't wait to wake up at 4 a.m. the following morning to go to Doc Ondor's and buy one of them, hopefully.
Yeah, whatever they show you in the trailer will be for sale at Doc Ondor's the very next morning. So the day that Obi-Wan trailer drops and you're going to see his blue lightsaber, like, I would love nothing more if this is the teaser trailer. You hear him talking to Luke on Tatooine, some damn fool idealistic crusade, and he's like, your father was a pilot before, he's telling that whole story in A New Hope. I forget the exact words. And then you just hear like the Force theme, and it's just like a black screen. And then you see, and it's his blue lightsaber, and it's just illuminating Ewan McGregor's face, and it's like Obi-Wan coming to Disney Plus. That's all I want.
Oh, that's all you want? I would have added one more thing to that.
What?
In the reflection of the blue lightsaber, you see Vader's face just very faintly.
The reflection of the lightsaber.
Well, just like kind of maybe not the reflection of the lightsaber. I'm sorry. Like you see the light illuminating on Vader's helmet or body, like.
Ooh, okay.
Like
how about this? The exact same thing I said, but as he turns on the lightsaber, you hear.
Yeah.
And then it's
something like that.
Then it's his face, and he lifts the lightsaber up a little bit, and you see the Vader helmet for like a half a second.
Yep, that works for me.
Yeah, that'd be pretty dope. Has it been confirmed that Hayden's coming back? Did he say he's coming back? Okay.
Yep.
I can't remember if that was a rumor or if they actually if he confirmed it. Dude,
it was a rumor, and then Hayden turned around and was like really excited about it and like confirmed it.
That's awesome. As much as crap as he gets, he's Vader, and that's why I would be so excited for Alden Ehrenreich to come back and do Solo again, because like it or not, that's canon. He's Solo. He's Vader. He's not the best Vader. He's too little, in my opinion. He looks like anorexic Darth Vader.
Especially in Attack of the Clones.
It looks ridiculous. But,
He looks a lot better in Revenge of the Sith. Like he did some trend or something and shot it up.
He took HGH.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the next story here. And this is something that I was looking forward to. And then when I watched it, I was kind of, I don't want to say I feel like I'm being so negative there. I'm usually really not negative when it comes to stuff. But I was just kind of like, about it. It was the Behind the Attraction episodes. We've watched the Jungle Cruise. We watched them in order. What was after Jungle Cruise?
The Haunted Mansion.
Haunted Mansion, and then Star Tours, right? Or was that the fourth one?
Nope.
No,
Star
because
Tours
then it's Tower of Terror and Space Mountain, right? Okay,
yep.
That's right. Okay, so I've watched them up to Star Tours. Watched them last night. I don't want to sound like a braggadocious douchebag here. I didn't learn a single thing from any of those 3 episodes. I knew all that stuff. Like I told you earlier, I could have written and directed those episodes myself. Maybe I could have probably done even a little bit more in depth. Also, I hate the narrator. She can't decide if she wants to be serious. It's not her fault. It's the person who is directing them. She's like silly one second, and then they like cut back and forth and do these like stupid repetitive jokes. I don't like that. But as far as I would
have preferred The Rock to narrate because he's on as an executive producer.
Yeah, and he's in the first one for Jungle Cruise, obviously, because he's promoting that movie, right? Which also I'm not. Did you see the runtime for Jungle Cruise?
No.
It's 2 hours and 38 minutes long.
All right, so We're getting the extended cut of the
It's
Jungle
the
Cruise.
Snyder cut. It's the Snyder cut of Jungle Cruise, man. How the hell is that movie gonna be? Well, okay, I say that, but Pirates was that long.
Pirates was that long, really?
Something like it's definitely over 2 hours. Look up the runtime for the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie. If it's under 2 hours, I will be appalled. Like I feel like it's like 2:12 or something.
I'm looking it up.
But so I'm curious what you thought about this because we talked about it a little bit before the show. I didn't want to get too much into it, so we could talk about it here. But it was really cool, and I think the thing that really makes these documentaries cool for me is seeing things that you wouldn't be able to see if it wasn't done by Disney because you wouldn't have access to the things behind the scenes. That's what I like. Even somebody who was a cast member, like I've walked through the Jungle Cruise like backstage area 1,000 times. I've seen those hippos out of the water, like on these little rolling racks thing. Like I've seen a bunch of cool stuff, but you can't just like walk into the attraction, when no one's on it. But that part of it was really, really cool to me. Especially with the Star Tour stuff. I always thought that like the ramp was like just something that would lift up like almost like a folding chair. But no, it's like an elevator that comes down, which I didn't know that. So I guess I did learn something. But
Okay.
I thought that was pretty cool. How long is Pirates?
2 hours 23 minutes.
I was close. Yeah. So, that, and I think Jungle Cruise is not going to be very good. But I also thought Pirates of the Caribbean wasn't going to be very good, and that first one and the last one were really good. So, hopefully they're onto something here with this. And it's The Rock. He doesn't really miss. So, but what did you think about the behind the attractions, the Star Wars, other than Fast and Furious? What did you think about the behind the attractions Star Wars stuff? Did you dig it? Did you hate it? Were you lackluster? What?
I dug it. Like I told you, and I felt like an idiot for not knowing most everything that or the newer things that I learned, rather, But I enjoy it. I dig this. I think the Imagineering story is better than this, but I love the Imagineering story. But in just to compare like the types of stories that I could watch over and over and over again about Disney attractions and how things came about, like especially the stuff with Jungle Cruise and Haunted Mansion, like all that stuff with Walt, I eat it up every single time. If I've heard the story 20 times, I want to hear it a 21st. I just love and kind of eat all that stuff up. They call me fanboy of-ish, but I enjoyed it. Seeing the combos that Lucas had, his kind of smug young George Lucas there, making the comments that he made about. It was funny making the comments about Tomorrowland, how it needed an improvement. I mean, that was pretty standard George Lucas.
From the jump, they touched on this in the documentary, but from the jump, Disneyland's Tomorrowland was a disaster. Like it went through. So the one thing I wish they would have touched on that they didn't touch on is Space Mountain. The Star Tours building took over Adventures Through Inner Space. They didn't address that at all, which was weird to me because that was done by Monsanto. Yes, that Monsanto. And it was a Paul Frees narrated attraction. It was a dark ride, and it's like you can go back and watch it. It's actually kind of creepy. And it's one of the attractions. Like if I had a time machine and I could only pick one attraction, it would be like a rock paper scissors or a flip of a coin rather for Alien Encounter again or that ride, or the Rainbow Caverns at Disneyland. I really would like to have seen that. But yeah, I thought it was weird they didn't address that at all because that was a big part of the failing of Tomorrowland was that like that attraction just kind of went. It was always really popular, but then like Monsanto, I believe if I'm remembering my story right, that Monsanto's sponsorship they kind of ended it and they kind of left them with like, okay, well now what? And it just kind of dilapidated over the years. But I actually feel like something. Now that I'm saying that, I feel like maybe something was in between those two. I don't think so. I could be wrong. This is I second guess myself, and I'm typically right when I'm talking about Disney history. But I feel like maybe it was something else for a little bit. Circle Vision, maybe. I don't remember. Anyway, I thought it was weird that they didn't address the history of the building. I had an idea for a Disney YouTube series called "If Walls Could Talk," and it was going to be like we would focus on a building in the park and talk about every attraction that was ever in that building. Because there's a lot of different. The name is stupid, but I
No. When you actually sit down and think about it, it's actually pretty good.
And just like the different versions of each ride, like the easiest one I think to do would be the one that now houses Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin at Magic Kingdom, because that had Dream Flight, it had Delta Dream Flight. There was so many things. Like there's so many, like even if you think about Space Mountain, right? That attraction's been the same as far as the roller coaster goes for a long time. But do you know how many different companies sponsored that? It was sponsored
like millions, right?
It was sponsored at one point by UPS and FedEx at 2 different occasions.
Okay.
Some record company sponsored it for a while. Like there's a bunch of stuff like that that's just really odd and random that not a lot of people know. I think would be interesting to get into. I don't know what I'm talking about, but yeah, I didn't dislike it, but I was just kind of like they could have done a little bit more in depth, and they were 43 minutes long. My only issue with this specific episode is they didn't really get into some of the stuff that I told you about that's in that panel, where they were like, they had Anthony Daniels come in and actually do the movement for C-3PO.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there's some stuff that they just didn't talk about. They could have talked about more. They could have shown more concept art and that kind of stuff. But I think the biggest issue with the episode was that they called it Star Tours, and they spent half of it talking about Galaxy's Edge.
Well, yeah, they had to fit Galaxy's Edge into it somehow.
I get it, but like it should be an afterthought. Like they didn't do that with any of the other episodes. Like they didn't start talking about the Haunted Mansion and then go, all right, well now we're going to talk about Splash Mountain for half of this. It just felt weird that like they were like Star Tours, okay, and now we talked about it for 8 minutes. I know it was longer than that. It's probably like half the episode, but now we're going to talk about Galaxy's Edge. It's like, well, just do an episode about Galaxy's Edge. They also didn't show you the same images that they could have shown you, like how the Falcon turntable works, like they did in the Imagineering story. So
they did. They told us.
They showed you a diagram. But they actually showed it in the Imagineering story, like the actual mechanism. Like they were inside while it was working. I'm like that. I want to see more of that. That looks really cool. But
that was awesome.
It was really cool. I was like, damn, because in your head you go like you can visualize it when they explain it to you, but when you see it, you're like, damn, that's impressive.
Yep.
That's very, very impressive. But yeah, so I'm glad for someone like you who doesn't know a ton of that history. Like it's really accessible now. Like you don't have to watch some shitty YouTube video from some asshole who's like, before we get into the video, we're going to talk about Raid Shadow Legends. Like you don't have to worry about any of that shit. Magic Spoon, none of that shit.
None of that crap. I can get it right from the source.
Yeah, and like I said, I think the coolest thing about that is that they do have access to everything behind the scenes of the attraction. Like they could go in and shut down the ride and do a walkthrough if they wanted to, which would actually be kind of cool to get like up close and stuff. I actually pitched to the executive team at Magic Kingdom a hard ticket event called Walking Through the Magic, where any attraction that you could do it, the park would close and have very short, like very limited number of tickets per event, and they would actually have cast members escort you through the attractions and you could like walk up on it. I got the idea when I got to walk through the Great Movie Ride when that closed.
Ooh.
And I'm like, people would eat that up.
Yeah, they would.
Absolutely would. You like money or do you hate money? Because people would eat that up. You could charge every one for that.
Gimme.
Because you still have to have cast members that's like walk you, because they know those cast members that work those attractions know how to evacuate you off of it, so they know their way through. They know what you can and can't walk on. They can take you back like, hey, sorry, this is not accessible. I think that'd be really cool. Like walking through the Haunted Mansion. I've been in the ballroom scene before, and that's really, really cool. But I feel like walking through all of it would be really, really cool. Like with the lights on and stuff. Maybe not even the lights on, but like just like when I was walking through Great Movie Ride and I was standing underneath the alien and I could just like stand there and like watch it come out at me was one of the coolest experiences I've ever had.
That's awesome.
All right, let's move on to something else because I could talk about Disney stuff all day. All right, moving on to the next one. So Kat Saka's Popcorn Cart, whatever the hell the actual name of it is, I think it's something Grains, at Magic Kingdom has been closed since the pandemic, and it reopens tomorrow. But unfortunately, because this is just how my life goes, they introduced a chocolate banana popcorn at Disneyland and not here as of right now. I really hope that I love anything banana flavored. I love it. One of my favorite bourbons is Howler Head banana flavored whiskey. It's amazing. And when you come down here, I'm gonna have to find it because you got to try it because it's so good. It's so good. But yeah, is this a treat that like interests you at all, or are you just gonna like walk past us next time you're in Galaxy's Edge?
I've walked past it before. I'll probably continue to walk past it again. I mean, if I see it and like I want to try it, just say I try it. I'll probably do that.
It's not good. What was there before? That's why I'm interested in the chocolate popcorn. Like, it honestly, legitimately tasted like Fruity Pebbles.
Yeah. Okay.
I think the biggest problem with it is that, like, I don't know if you can do those seasonings without the popcorn being like somewhat cool, because I feel like it would just melt at that heat. And so, like, whenever you eat any of the popcorn from there, it just kind of tastes stale. And Disney popcorn is the shit. Like, actual Disney popcorn rocks. And I feel like that's part of the problem, is that you have to, like, cool the stuff down before you can put the flavoring on it. And I think that kind of messes it up. It tastes like Fruity Pebbles. And then the green one was just like green salt. It was very boring. That's the problem, I think. But no, I don't know anyone who's like, I love that place. I've never heard anybody talk good about it. It's very odd. All right, I think that's the last story. Is that it?
Oh, I've got one more, and then I can give a quick story before our top 10.
Please
But
do.
that rumor I shared with you earlier about Ahsoka, her series coming on Disney Plus. So we've got a strong rumor, and this makes a lot of sense, especially for the Thrawn rumor casting that Lars Mikkelsen is reprising the role in live action. And Ezra Bridger, who obviously from Rebels, who was last seen with Thrawn before Space Whales happened, would be cast, and that would be Mena Massoud. I always mess up last names, but he played Aladdin in the live-action Aladdin.
That's a good call. That guy's a good actor, by the way. I didn't hate that movie.
Right, it's a perfect call for Ezra.
Yeah, the age might be a little weird. Because how old would Ezra be at this point?
Ezra's older, man. He'd be older if this is post Rebels. You know, he grew up in Rebels. We did a time jump from season 2 to season 3, probably by at least, because he grew too. He got tall by maybe 5 years or so.
To be fair, did they say it was a 5-year gap?
I can't recall. It just looks like it. Like he was young kid with like longer hair, and then all of a sudden, season 3, he's this. After the shit happened to Kanan, he's this brooding, dark, tall, Aladdin-looking dude.
See, I remember growing really, really fast over one summer.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was the summer between 5th and 6th grade. I grew like a foot that summer, like legitimately grew that fast. Because I've been the same height since like 8th grade, man. I've been like 6'2"? 6'2". How tall are you? Are you taller than me? You're taller than me, aren't you?
No, am I?
I don't know.
I think we.
Or like, if not, we're the same height.
Yeah, I'm close. Last I checked, I'm like 6'2.5" ish.
Yeah,
6'2".
I always say I'm 6'2", 6'3", depending on the shoes I'm wearing. So I don't know. 5 years would be because what happened in that time period? Like I always was under the impression that like Rebels was pretty close. I know he does get older, and I just don't know what the official time jump is because I don't know. It doesn't matter. But like I think if you're just gonna cast a live action Ezra, somebody who I think would be Ezra, that's a good call. I can't think of anyone else who could really do it.
I don't. Yeah.
And he's a good actor. Like, we don't need him singing and dancing, but he was good in Aladdin. He was good. That movie's fine. I liked it. I thought it was one of the better live action versions they've done. But yeah, I think this is. I mean, if it's not these actors, these characters are gonna show up. I mean, why else would you have brought it up in the Mandalorian episode when you know she's getting a spinoff?
Said his name clearly.
Yeah, like we know they're coming. So I am more excited about the Ahsoka show than I am Andor or Book of Boba Fett.
Yes. Agreed. Me too.
Okay, good, because I'm the same. I'm down for that.
I love Rosario Dawson. She's a well-respected voice actor in the DC comic world. She's played Wonder Woman multiple times. Done an excellent job with it. I think she's done a great job with live action Ahsoka. I can't wait to see more of it.
I'm all in. So I hope those rumors are true. So you said it was who? What? Lars Mikkelsen? Is that what you said?
Lars Mikkelsen. Yeah, he's the one who voiced Thrawn.
Oh no shit! Really?
Yeah.
Is Thrawn's voice actor playing him? What does this guy look like? Does he look like Thrawn?
He could.
Is this Maz Mikkelsen's brother?
I have no idea.
Galen Erso's brother? No, it's a different spelling, I
Lars
think.
Mikkelsen, Danish actor. Yeah,
Yeah.
he could do it if he shaves. I don't know if he's got the beard right now. If he
He's
shaves,
definitely old enough for that time period to be him.
oh yeah,
Hell yeah, dude.
He's currently 57 years old, so he could totally do it.
That's perfect, dude. That's like perfect. Yeah, it is his brother. Mads Mikkelsen's his brother.
Oh, it is all right then.
Yeah, so Galen Erso's brother is going to be Thrawn. Fuck yeah, dude.
That's cool.
Oh, fuck yeah, man. Oh. Dude, I'm so in for this. Looking at this dude now, absolutely. He's perfect. So he's the voice actor of Thrawn in Rebels?
Yep, you got it.
Wow. I didn't know that. I didn't know that was his voice actor. Damn, that's good casting. He's 6'3" as well. Look at him. That's really, really good casting, man. I'm
Thrawn's tall though, right?
Yeah. Oh
Thrawn's
yeah. Yeah. That's really good casting, man. And plus you get to use the voice that like that's a twofer right there. Like because as great as it would have been for Ashley Eckstein to be the live action Ahsoka, I don't think physically it would have worked.
No,
but it would have been cool.
She's a little small.
She's way too small. Yeah, I was kind of like, come on, if Bo-Katan can do it, why can't Ahsoka? But it makes sense. But all right, man. So let's do this. I'm gonna stop for 2 seconds and I'm gonna go get a refill on my drink real quick. I'm not gonna stop. While we're doing that, why don't you introduce the top 10? I should be no less than 10 seconds. So you go ahead and introduce what our top 10 list is, and I'll be back in just a second. Go ahead.
Sure thing. So our top 10 list this week. So we get shit on a lot are the prequels for Star Wars. Episode 1, Phantom Menace. Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. And Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, get shit on quite a bit from almost all OG Star Wars fans that you meet and talk to. And really, if Star Wars is brought up, it's either, oh man, it's the original, I hate the Mary Sue Ray, and the prequels are shit, or you've got the people, the Raylos out there who only want to recognize the sequel trilogy. And then far off on the outer rim, there are people in the galaxy that do enjoy the prequels. And I, for one specifically, can't talk for Brad, but for one specifically, do find them entertaining. When we're talking about good films in my ranking, both episode 1 and 2 land fairly lower. But Brad and I were talking specifically about the things we loved out of the prequels because there's some good stuff out of there.
Absolutely.
There really is. And I was easily able to come up with 10 and an honorable mention quickly. It was just putting them in the right order. It was the tough part for me, but I eventually got to it. So what we're going to do today on today's show to wrap it up is our top 10 favorite moments from the prequels, or just really not moments, just really anything from the prequels.
Sounds good. I actually didn't have an honorable mention, and I told you the other day I was going to rewatch Attack of the Clones finally. I didn't get around to it.
It's okay.
Ended up going seeing my friend perform at the Orlando Improv, so I didn't get a chance to go and watch that movie. But I'm going to. But I will say, some moments from Attack of the Clones did show up in my top 10. So I just want to throw that out there. Mine are in order. I don't have an honorable mention. So what we'll do is I'll let you go first, and then I'll give you my number 10 after you go. So go ahead and kick this bad boy this list off first. But before you do that, I do want to announce that we are going to change the way we do the show. You and me and Evan have talked about it, and what we think we're going to start doing in the near future, once you're here and settled, so not anytime in the immediate future, what we're going to do is we're going to start doing 2 podcasts a week. We're going to try to have them out as quickly as we can. I'm hoping to do it like Tuesday, Thursdays. That's kind of what I want to do, or like Monday, Wednesdays. We'll figure it out. But what we're going to do is we're going to do like a news show, and then one podcast will be the news show, and then the other podcast for that week will be our top 10 list. So they'll kind of just be separated. The reason is because I feel like sometimes we rush through either the news or we rush through the top 10 list just because we're already an hour and a half in. And these lists can take a while, especially if we're talking about something we're really, really passionate about, which honestly, these I kind of am, even though it's prequel stuff. But I just want to give you guys a heads up on that. So, and also we'll make it a little easier for you if you're only interested in the top 10s or you're only interested in the news. You don't have to really cycle through the podcast. You can just download whichever one you'd like. So I think it might be better across the board. But that being said, Tom, what's your number? Oh, you're number 11, technically.
My honorable mention, number 11, we can call it. So I want to first shout out a listener who comments quite frequently on YouTube, Matt Narvaez, I believe it is. And I want to thank him for getting Battle of the Heroes restuck in my head. I forgot how much I really liked Battle of the Heroes. Not as much as as I like Duel of the Fates, but we talked about that last on our top 10 music countdown. But really great score. Gave us an iconic moment, which will show up later on my list again. Spoiler alert, but yeah, just wanted to give that an honorable mention because it didn't end up on my list because it's a little bit newer. The love is rekindled a little bit for that theme. So yeah, Battle of the Heroes it is.
Cool. Solid, man. All right, what's your number 10 to kick it off, and then I'll go with my number 10.
Okay, Roger, the battle droids, aka the clankers, and their general stupidity. And why in God's name did they scream every time they got destroyed?
I don't know. See, they're kids' movies, man. Like George Lucas said, they're made for kids, and no more proof than that than my son's favorite character, other than Luke Skywalker, is Jar Jar Binks. So,
okay,
it hurts
that's
my
fair.
heart. He bought. One of the only things he bought at the last Star Wars toy convention was a Jar Jar Binks Hot Wheel, and I wanted to die a little bit inside.
Do you have a Jar Jar Binks Black Series?
Yes.
I figured you did. I mean, if I see it, I'm going to pick one up too. So
they're cool.
Don't worry about that.
The shield that comes with it is dope. I actually like that figure quite a bit.
Jar
Jar's just silly, and it's just not. It just feels wrong, and like he would be a great Clone Wars or Rebels character, but in live action, it just feels weird.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely got better as the movies went along when they needed to introduce him, but he is pretty pivotal to Phantom Menace. I mean, he was the one that brought the whole army that they were able to fight the clankers with. So
yeah, he also helped Palpatine get into power, so that's real nice of him.
He did. He did.
He's a douche.
He did. Not his fault. He's just an idiot.
So
just
stupid.
just like the clankers are, and I kind of love how they talk to each other. Especially when they're in dire situations, and they're no match for Jedis, right? They're no match for the clone troopers, really. They're just overall fun. Are they made for kids? Yeah, but I find the humor in them.
For sure. Speaking of them being like not a match for the Jedi, did you ever see the behind the scenes making of Phantom Menace?
No, I have not.
Oh, dude, it's on YouTube. You can watch the whole thing. It's like 2.5 hours long. It's amazing. But there's a scene where it's really cool. There's a scene where he's talking to, I think it's Spielberg. I'm like 99% sure it's Steven Spielberg, and he's explaining to him like how frail those battle droids are. He's like, so when the Jedi like hit them, they kind of just cut through them like a knife through butter, and like so they intentionally made them like frail and weak. And like I've always thought that was cool. So it's funny you picked up on like how frail they are. All right, my number 10, and I just picked scenes that I really really liked.
Yeah.
That's just kind of how I took this because honestly, I honestly don't know the prequels that well, to be perfectly honest with everybody. I know some of the storylines, but I just picked out scenes that I thought were really good. My number 10 is one that I've actually talked negatively about quite a bit because it's so fucking ridiculous. But I remember being in the theater, and when it happened, my brother just started cackling laughing, and he was pretty young. And every time I see it, I think of my brother laughing. And it's Yoda fighting Count Dooku in Attack of the Clones. It was, I will say, it was really, really cool to see Yoda be a badass. But it's almost like one of those things where it's like, you could have gotten that from what you saw in Revenge of the Sith. And I think it would have hit better. Because it really would have, if they didn't do it in Attack of the Clones, it would have come out of nowhere. Like, because the first time you see him use the Force in any of those movies, if it's not for Attack of the Clones, would be when he walks into Palpatine's like office and he smacks those 2 Senate guards against the wall, right?
Yes, or my number 9 is Yoda force wipes the Emperor guards in Episode 3.
That is so. Are you serious? That's so funny.
I swear to God, that's my number 9 because I love that moment so much. I just love how Yoda just effortlessly force wipes and like just those 2 guards. He's like, yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing, and I think they should have saved it for that. Like, I don't know, they could have had like Ki-Adi-Mundi or some other Jedi come in and save them, and I think saving that for because like it would have been like a build up. Like, wait, I want to see Yoda like kick some ass, and you would have seen it like, oh shit, it would have been more subtle. Him jumping around was fucking weird, and the way that's edited is so shitty. If you go back and watch it, it's just bad. But yeah, so your number. I guess I'll go ahead with my number 9 since we know what yours.
Yeah, go.
Oh, do you want to say anything else about that scene? Because I'm with you. I think that's one of the. I think it's one of the most badass. It's just like it's almost like it's an afterthought. It's like, oh yeah, I gotta kill these guys. Boom, and then like, okay, now it's like that meme. Okay, cool. Now what?
Yeah, pretty much. It's like, hey, what's going on? I'm Yoda. So yeah, that's about it.
Okay.
It's just his and I want to officially call it the Force wipe because I watched it over and over and over again, and he just looks like he wipes a piece of like cloth off of his shirt.
My number 9 is them confronting Palpatine right before Mace Windu gets murked and blasted out the window. That whole scene is just like, okay, like shit's about to get real, and it's just it's so interesting, like what, because I do think the story is not told that well, but the idea that this guy like had kept an eye on Anakin for like 15 years while he was growing, or 10 years, whatever it was, while he was growing up, and like knew that the Jedi weren't treating him the way that he wanted the Jedi to treat him, and like the slow manipulation of this poor kid to the dark side for his own gain, and then when you see like every time I watch it, I kind of go like, come on, don't chop off Mace Windu's hands, like he's right, and he's right, and that whole scene, like I need him, it's poorly acted, but like if you get the story, you're like, oh shit, here we go, and it's just it kicks off all of the events that lead up to it, because at that point doesn't he knight him, from now on you'll be known as Darth Vader? Isn't that from that point on?
Yep.
Okay. Did you know that there's variant cards of him from, I think I've showed you these, the Return of the Revenge of the Sith, like him fighting Obi-Wan on Mustafar, vintage collection figures, and some of them say Anakin Skywalker, and the variant was Darth Vader.
Yeah, I did. You showed me. That's nuts.
I want one of those so fucking bad, dude. Like a Darth Vader out of the costume. Like, whoever caught that little detail, I fucking love you. Thank you, Hasbro. When you do it right, you do it right. Oh, dude, we didn't talk about in the news? The Clone Wars, Aaron Teriyaki, whatever the hell his name, Aaron Teriyaki, whatever the hell his name is, the vintage collection figures that came out. We forgot to put that in the news.
That's right, and we got the whole wave of those too. We
did. I'm so excited. The Black Series ones were really cool too, because it was those like super stylized. Only one I got was Grievous. The Mace Windu one looked funky, and so did the Yoda one. I didn't actually get to see what the Grievous one looks like, but I'm really excited because it comes in like old packaging that even says Cartoon Network on it.
Yeah,
which is so interesting, because that means they had to sign off on that.
That's true.
Oh, cool. All right. I wanted to put that in there. I'm sorry we did that in the top 10, but yeah, if you don't know what we're talking about, the new wave of TVC figures were fucking awesome. All right. What's your number 8?
My number 8, and I won't spend too much time because we just spoke about planets a few episodes ago, but it's too good of a planet. I can't leave Naboo off of there. Naboo is my favorite planet from the prequels. It's just beautiful. And talking about Attack of the Clones, it's probably some of my favorite shots of Naboo. I think they filmed it, was it Italy? Is that right?
Yeah, in Italy, yep.
Yeah, Italy. It's just some gorgeous, gorgeous shots, especially towards the end when Padme and Anakin are secretly getting married. It's probably one of my favorite shots on the water there, with like those mountains in the background, just lush green Naboo. When I think of that, when I think of Padme, I think of Naboo, and vice versa. You think that's the good everything. You could totally see that that's where, Leia has her roots in, right?
Absolutely.
That's where this like the most humble Jedi that we've ever known. Well, was she technically a Jedi? No, the most humble. The princess that we've ever known.
I don't
most
think she
humble
was
general.
technically a Jedi, but she's a Force user, and she trained to be a Jedi.
Yeah, and she was.
I don't know if Rey's technically a Jedi either.
That's true. I mean, they don't knight people anymore after everything.
Which is such a great. By the way, I refinished Fallen Order for all you guys who were paying attention to the last few episodes. I finished it finally. Yeah. That scene where Seer, is it Seer? Because he calls her Seer. Grease calls her something else. It's like they kind of do like a Han hand thing with her name.
Yeah.
Seer. Okay, so it's Seer, right? When she knights him with that
that's
Inquisitor lightsaber, dude, that is one of the fucking. I got chills. That is one of the fucking coolest moments of that game.
hell yeah.
God,
Dude.
I fucking love that game. I love the
So
story, I
good.
should say. The mechanics didn't bother me as much the second time around because I'd
No,
already
that's
beaten
true.
it.
Me neither.
But I still got stuck at a
Hey.
few of the same places. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with me? How do I not remember how to do this? But yeah. Sorry. I keep interrupting you. I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine. I was limping to the point that Leia Organa, of being, she's from Naboo. You know her roots are Naboo, especially from her mother Padme. It's just a spectacular planet. It makes sense that she's from there, and it's so. It's crazy to compare when you look at Anakin, and especially when he's Darth Vader, you think Mustafar. And even being from Tatooine, there's stark differences between Naboo and those two planets. So it's, hey, Paul Abdul said opposites attract. So
True. It is very, very true. I've never really thought about the juxtaposition of Anakin, becoming Vader on Mustafar, and like the difference in aesthetic from those two planets. It's like literally the polar opposites.
yeah, I think it was on purpose.
Yeah, I think so too. He was born, anew as like this like evil monster on a horrible. It's almost a little on the nose if you really think about it.
Yeah.
And it's almost a little on the nose, but it works. It works. All right, my next one, we'll be on number 8. Wait, where'd it go? Oh, here it is. It is the fight between Obi-Wan and Anakin/Vader on Mustafar. One of the greatest lightsaber scenes. I wish they would not cut away from it. It drives me insane every time I watch it. I just want to watch it all the way through. And there are cuts on YouTube where you can just watch it all the way through, and it's awesome.
Okay.
But that is like, it's so ridiculous, but I love it. Like, they're like, my favorite moment of it that is just so fucking ridiculous is the scene where Obi-Wan jumps off that thing, or maybe it's Anakin, and he lands on the head of that droid over a pit of lava. It's so fucking ridiculous. Do you know the part I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think Obi-Wan's the one that has to do that.
Yeah, whoever it is. And I just remember being like, that's so ridiculous. Like, he jumps off this like massive thing that's like falling down. He swings on a rope. He jumps off it like in a video game, does like a backflip and lands on this like little droid's head, and it holds him up and they don't sink into the lava. It's so ridiculous. But that whole scene is just so awesome. Like, if you think you're a Star Wars fan and you don't appreciate that scene, something's fucking wrong with you.
Mm-hmm.
So dope.
Can't agree more. And I'm staying quiet because obviously this one's on my list too. I could not, so I'll save my thoughts till then.
Sweet. Okay.
Number 7. I'm going to read a quote from your favorite Qui-Gon Jinn. Moisture farms, for the most part, some indigenous tribes and scavengers. The few spaceports like this one are havens for those that don't wish to be found. So they're entering Mos Espa. I'm going to say this again. So Qui-Gon's talking to Padme. Moisture farms, for the most part, some indigenous tribes and scavengers. They're on Tatooine. This is episode 1. When I read that quote to you, Brad, what does anything stick out to you?
Not really. Why?
The scavenger part. Talking about.
Do you see what I did there? I did. We talked about this earlier. I was trying to pretend like we didn't. Yeah, that's a good. Good. I never picked up on that.
Yeah.
You told me your thoughts. I wanted you to tell the people what you think, because I think you're on to something.
No. Yeah, and maybe this was done completely, on accident. But I tend to think things with Star Wars are done on purpose. So somebody somewhere recognized in the Phantom Menace that Qui-Gon was talking about scavengers and just people who don't belong being on Tatooine. Fast forward to our sequel trilogy, and we've got our main character in Rey. Fast forward through the movies and everything that she has to go through. And I will just slightly say the more and more I watch the sequel trilogy, the more and more appreciation I have for Rey. So that'll piss some people off out there. But moving along, she eventually, retires or whatever you want to call it, ends up finding refuge on the Moisture Farm when Luke Skywalker grew up, and eventually on Tatooine. So I think somebody noticed that quote by Qui-Gon talking about scavengers on Tatooine, and specifically made Rey a scavenger just to prove that you can be nobody to begin with and be from essentially nowhere and still be one of the most important people in the galaxy.
Yeah, I agree, and I mean, no one has more humble beginnings than Anakin. I mean, Jesus, he was a slave.
Yeah.
And then he it reminds me of, what was that, Futurama? It was Futurama. Do you remember the episode of a Futurama where it's like they go to that planet? It's like old ancient Egypt. It's early
Probably.
on.
I mean,
it's early
okay.
on. There's a line in there that they're like having to build these monuments for these like the pharaohs, right? And he goes, the prophecy said that he was born in like a river to a mom who didn't want him, and he worked his way up from slave to God of all creation. I kind of find that exact quote. It's so funny. That episode is one of my favorite episodes of Futurama. It's so good. But it's just funny that, like, yeah, Vader literally started as a slave and then worked his way up to being the most badass Sith Lord ever. I don't know if worked his way up's the right way to say that, but it just makes me that Futurama joke makes me laugh every time I think about it. All right, my number, what was this, 7?
7.
I don't number mine. That's why I always have an issue of do it because my phone doesn't let me like format it in a list without it being a pain in the ass, and then it doesn't look right and it makes me angry. Mine is Anakin meeting Padme. Are you an angel? And the reason why, it's corny, it's stupid, but it literally sets up the entire story. It sets up the fall to Darth Vader. It sets up the entire prequel storyline, and I think it's awesome. You know, it's not the greatest scene, but to be fair, none of these, I don't think, other than like one or two of these, would be like like the best Star Wars scenes ever. But as far as like setting up the prequels, I mean, there's nothing more, if he doesn't meet her, if he calls in sick that day, he's not meeting Padme, and he wouldn't even turn. It's like those memes where it's just like, we grant you the rank of master. And it's like written and directed by George Lucas, like straight to the credits. If that doesn't happen, then the story's a whole lot different. So I actually think I like Phantom Menace the best out of the 3, even more than Revenge of the Sith. And I know part of that is just because I was a kid when I saw it, and it was just right place, right time kind of thing for me. And I remember being so excited. I remember playing with all the toys. Just the hype around it was like, if you thought the Force Awakens hype was wild, you guys don't know shit about 1999, dude. That summer was fucking crazy with people. Like, everybody was talking about Star Wars. I actually found some... if they're still there tomorrow, I'm going to go back and buy them. It was these like boxed toys from episode 1 from, I think, Taco Bell. Pizza Hut, maybe?
I'm surprised you didn't pick those up.
The reason I didn't is because the boxes were kind of fucked up and some of them were open and like, but I'm sitting here like wishing I had bought them tonight. They were only like $5 each. I should have just fucking bought them. But those were cool, and so people don't remember that hype was real for that movie, and it's not the best Star Wars movie. I don't think if it's anyone's favorite Star Wars movie, I kind of question you a little bit, but I love it just for nostalgia reasons, and like there's stuff we'll talk about later that on my list that like make it so awesome for me, but that scene with them is just cool because that's the whole storyline.
Most definitely. No, I totally get it. And Revenge of the Sith is still my favorite of the prequels for obvious reasons. I've made it clear that I'm a Stanikin. So
it's the best movie of the prequels. I mean, I don't think anyone's debating that. It's definitely the best. But like, Phantom Menace, I have a soft spot for.
No, I get it. And Phantom Menace is my second favorite for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
I mean, Attack of the Clones.
I remember like being shocked that people did like when the internet became a thing and people like had this like hatred for the prequels. I remember kind of being shocked because I didn't like them, but I was just like I thought I was a weirdo because like all my friends liked we didn't care. We were kids. It was Star Wars. We were fucking loving it. But yeah, all right. Well, on to the next one.
Number 6, right? Yeah. So for me, and you had kind of mentioned this earlier, but I'm going to combine them. And number 6 for me is Master Yoda and his lightsaber battles. Now, I put this at number 6 for two very distinct opposite reasons. One, because I think they're badass, and we've always wanted to see Yoda wielding a lightsaber, right? And two, on the complete opposite end, they're so ridiculous you can't help but laugh when he's flipping all around there, especially when he's fighting Count Dooku and making the rah noises.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I'm with you 100%. That's literally like why I put it on my list, because it's awesome and it's fucking insane at the same time.
It somehow delivers a, like, I needed to see this for so many reasons and I never knew why. Like, even when I rewatched the episodes, and even when I rewatched episode 2, and I'm just amazed. You know, it's just, I would never put that lightsaber battle as like in my top 10. Which hey, we should do it. We should do a top 10 list on that. By the way,
that would be awesome. I could not agree more. That needs to be our next one, I think.
Okay, let's do it. But yeah, for all things considered, Yoda and his lightsaber battles, for how eccentric and over the top they are, I can't get enough of them.
I'm with you. It's a weird one. It's weird watching that little green frog lizard guy jump around. I forgot about the grunts.
Yeah, the grunt.
I do think it would have been a better idea, like I said before, to just have him do it in that last scene with Dooku. Because the lightsaber scene there is pretty cool, and he saves them using. Again, I've only seen Attack of the Clones, I think twice ever, in its entirety. Like, I've seen scenes. It's like I've tried to watch it a few times, but like in its entirety, I think I've only seen it twice. But doesn't he like stop something with the Force, and that's how Dooku gets away? Like, doesn't Dooku like pull something off the wall there and like throw it at him?
No, I just watched Attack of the Clones because I remember when I texted you, Courtney, my wife, was out of town, and I was super down and missing her. So I was like, man, I must be missing her so hard. I'm watching Attack of the Clones right now.
Nothing can hurt worse than this. She's like, I was wrong.
Right. I need to feel more pain. So Yoda and Dooku just start by more of like they keep throwing shit at each other with the Force first, and then Dooku famously says, "It looks like our knowledge of the Force is matched equally. It looks like we'll have to do this the old school way," or something like that.
He goes, we will not be able to do this by our knowledge of the Force, but by our skills with the lightsaber. That's what it is.
Yep, exactly.
Something like that. I've messed the first part up, but yeah, yeah. Okay, I remember that. But by our skills with the lightsaber.
Can I say, I love his hilt.
It's amazing. You have it now, right?
I just bought it. Thanks by the will of the Force, I was able to get into Disney's Hollywood Studios this past Tuesday when I was doing some unmentionable thing that makes me cry when I think about it. But I picked up.
But shout out to Evan.
No, absolutely big shout out to Evan for taking Jack and accepting Jack into his family. Absolutely. I've said it on the podcast before, and I will continue to say that. 100%. Totally agreed.
And Jack's not gone. He's just down the street.
I know.
And now, especially, you're going to be over here a lot doing podcasts and hanging out and chilling with you and Courtney.
Yes,
I would hope so. You saw how close Evan lives.
He lives close.
It's wild. And it's more. It's
I could
the most
yell, "Hey, Evan," and he can hear me.
The most thing that's wild is like he lives that close, and I never fucking see him anymore.
Oh man, Evan, if you're listening, Brad has the shirt that I got for you, so you have to go see Brad to get the shirt.
I'll see you in 6 weeks. All right. All right. What number was that? Was that number 6?
That was 6.
Okay. My number 6 is, and I think this is one of the classic moments of like, oh, this shit's going to be dope, and then it's not. The opening scene of Phantom Menace / the introduction to Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. Like, how cool was it as the first time you see Phantom Menace to be like, oh, shit, that's Obi-Wan. That's fucking Obi-Wan. Like, that's fucking Obi-Wan. And like, oh, that's the guy that trained Obi-Wan. Oh, shit. Like, I remember being like, that is so cool. And that whole scene of them, like, fighting in the smoke and, like, doing the Force run that is never fucking addressed again ever in Star Wars.
Okay, thank you. When I was watching the Phantom Menace on the plane,
like, what the fuck is that?
Go back. Like, I'm like, I thought I saw that when I watched it the first time. I'm like, no, I must be really drunk or something like that. And then when I saw it again, I was like, they force ran.
Yeah, they
like
force
both
run down the hallway, and it doesn't.
Sonic.
It makes no fucking sense, dude. It makes
never
no
do it
sense.
again.
Never again. Never. And it would have been beneficial. Like, I don't know, maybe towards the end of the movie when you're running towards Obi-Wan or Qui-Gon to try to save him against, a Sith Lord that's the first one in 1,000 years. I don't know. Maybe Sith run or Force run down that fucking hallway, Obi-Wan, you fucking asshole. No, but let's get stuck behind the very last red laser force field thing and watch your master get the shit stabbed out of him in the chest with a fucking double-bladed red lightsaber. You fucking cut. Ugh. They could have just force run, dude.
My favorite part about when Obi-Wan's running down that hallway with like the red laser walls is that he keeps spinning his lightsaber. Like he keeps like spinning it.
Yeah.
Like every time he runs, he like spins it a little bit. I'm like, all right, that just looks badass, but what's the purpose?
He's just nervous. It's like a fidget spinner for a Jedi. They just turn their lightsaber around. I will say, though, that scene at the very end after he kills Qui-Gon and he's just like bobbing up and down, like, get this motherfucking force field out of my fucking way. Like, that hype is fucking awesome. He's like,
it is good.
Come on, you fuck. Come on. That's such a cool fucking lightsaber scene. That might make my list, to be honest with you. Not like the whole Duel of the Fates, but that specific one between him and I guess that is technically still Duel of the Fates, right?
Technically, yeah.
Okay. I would specifically say that part's the best because it's just like it's just what you want. It's just what you want from Obi-Wan. You want to. I think they did as far as any of the old between him and Yoda, they definitely did Obi-Wan better than they did Yoda. Yoda didn't even fucking walk in like half the movie. He's just like on that floating goddamn yoga pose pedestal thing that he's doing. Fuck you, Yoda. Walk.
Maybe if we get a High Republic movie, we'll see Yoda like strutting down the street.
Yeah, just like strolling like
staying alive.
That's exactly what I was about to say. I was trying to think of the dude's name. John Travolta.
John Travolta.
That's exactly what I was trying to say, man. That's funny. All right, what's your next one? Number 5? Is that where we're at?
Number 5, yeah. We were shitting on it earlier, but I will, for the reasons I will explain, my 5 favorite thing from the prequels. It's late, and liquors might have drunken me.
I'm right there with you, but I'm drinking Jack Daniel's Rye, and it's fucking delicious.
Very good. It gave life to the animated universe of the Clone Wars, Rebels, and now currently the Bad Batch. And say what you will about these shows, there have been some well-delivered moments out of them, some iconic Star Wars moments. Let's talk Ahsoka Tano's rise to popularity. Giving Anakin the means to turn to the dark side and not trust the Jedi. If you watch the prequels for what they are, you're going to question why Anakin did what he did. You put the Clone Wars together with that, you're like, oh, I'm kind of on his side now.
Well, I mean, you can watch the movies, and yes, I agree with you 100%. But they did him dirty. I mean, like, they never trusted him.
Mm-hmm. It's true. But
also, it's the same thing of like, look, they were right to not trust him.
No, they were very right to not trust him. But look what she did to his Padawan too. They essentially kicked her out of the Jedi Order after she was framed. So.
And he had that is the whole thing is just fucking dicey. You get, I get it. I get it. I wouldn't kill the women and the children, but I get it.
I wouldn't. I'm not saying, Space Hitler is not a good thing, and killing the women and the children, and like I famously said, eating all those younglings into purgatory. We are specifically anti that Anakin, but I'm just saying, like, you could see the reasons that made the conflicted Jedi fall to the dark side.
Yeah. I have a joke, but I don't want to say it because I'll have to edit it out, and I don't want to have to edit it out.
Text it to me.
Okay.
So to continue on from the good things that I love from the animated shows that the prequel spawned, we get to see more of Darth Maul. We get to see his rebirth and his eventual demise in Rebels. I love the fight between Obi-Wan and Maul in Rebels when we eventually see Maul just die. It's one of my favorite moments between the two of them, and I appreciate it. One of the few things I appreciate from the animated universe. I'll just one word: Chopper.
Chopper's
I
dope.
love that we had
I
Chopper.
love Chopper. Yeah,
Yeah.
Chopper makes Rebels worth it.
Yeah, and Rebels for kicking the tires and starting the fires for the rebellion. Rebels, short-lived 4 seasons. I think it's better than the Clone Wars. It's a very important piece of Star Wars history.
Agreed.
Because the Ghost Crew, it's this, you could very well argue the biggest spark for the rebellion.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And
I just
finally,
how many seasons do you think Bad Batch is going to be? It's got to be like 2. How the fuck long are they going to drag this shit out?
I don't know. It depends on what the viewership is. If it's there, they'll definitely give it a second season.
There's no way people are invested in this show. Like, I don't hear anyone talk. Like, I forgot it came out today, and I'm a big Star Wars fan. Like, I don't give a fuck about this show.
Yeah.
There's no way this show is popular. Because, dude, every episode of The Mandalorian when that would come out, even Loki, I heard shit about Loki, and I'm not even on the internet. Like, I know when I hear about some shit, it's popular. I don't hear anybody talking about Bad Batch.
No, you're right. I mean, social media really isn't technically doing it.
It's weird. All right.
I mean,
no,
yeah.
Go ahead.
But
No,
that was
go
it.
ahead. Go ahead.
The last thing that I really loved that Rebels gave us is that it fills in some of the gap with Vader.
Yeah, for sure. Rebels is worth it alone just for that Ahsoka scene with Vader. I mean, where she finds out that it's Anakin underneath that. Like, I mean, that's top 5 Star Wars moments all time. I mean, that moment is fucking awesome.
It's the part 2 of the season finale of season 2.
Whoo, it's good. It's good. It is so good. That whole thing is awesome. All right. Where are we at? 5?
Number 5, sir. What's your number 5?
My number 5 is... I texted you, by the way.
I did. I saw it, and I had a very good belly laugh that I was hiding from the microphone.
Now you see why I didn't want to say it on the show.
Yeah, I wouldn't have said that. I would have jumped out of my window and said, "Nope, done with this show."
The Geonosis Jedi scene.
Oh yeah.
This one's amazing to me because I had always wanted to, like, you hear in the original trilogy, like, they talk about the Jedi Order and like, but you don't know what that means, and then actually seeing it, like seeing all those Jedi show up on Geonosis and Attack of the Clones, right?
Yep.
You also get to see the birth, and that is like a twofer because you get to see the birth of Boba Fett. Like, really, like, pick up his decapitated dad's helmet and watch that head slide right out of that helmet and pop it on and paint it green, and you're good to go. But just seeing all the Jedi together is just such a cool fucking scene. It's just awesome. You get a lot of that type of stuff in the High Republic. Not necessarily them fighting alongside each other, but like just you get that there's a ton of Jedi around and shit can go down at any second. I just love that scene so much for that. Like, and just seeing all the lightsabers, like when it's that shot, I think it was even in the trailer of them like running towards the battle droids, or was that battle droids? It's all foggy because I haven't seen that fucking movie in so long. Is it battle droids they're running towards?
Yeah, because it's battle droids. It's like some creatures, Jango Fett's down there because remember that's the whole scene when C-3PO's body and his head is.
Oh, I
detached.
hate that part of that. Oh God, I hate that part.
So do I.
Die, Jedi, die! Like, who? Why did I say that? It's like, oh God. And that's George Lucas. That's the guy you guys praise so much. I praise him too. I'm just being cranky today. I'm trying to be an asshole. I'm trying to get people to get mad at me. Hasn't happened in a while. I'm kidding.
Come on, man.
I'm kidding. I don't know. I just feel like people are like. I've explained what I said. What I said. But that scene's just cool. Just to see all the Jedi coming together. That's all. I just love it. It's just so cool. And you get to see like Kit Fisto in action. There's a lot of cool Jedi in the background that like have stories and stuff, and you can dive deep into those. It's really cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right. What's your number? 4, 5, 4, 5, 5.
4. Yeah, 4. It gave depth and purpose, and you alluded to this a little bit earlier, but it gave depth and purpose to who we knew as the Emperor before the prequels began, right? You know, you've got the Emperor, and you don't know a background outside of just a few things and a few rumors, right? If someone were to watch episodes 4, 5, and 6, you're not going to know too much about the Emperor other than he's just this powerful, scrunchy old man who could shoot lightning out of his fingers. It was a long plot that he earned, and it just wasn't some like random uprising overnight for the Empire to be in power. You know, I liked the acting of Sheev Palpatine.
Oh, I thought he crushed it.
Yeah,
I think his best acting though was in 9, to be honest.
You said the best acting in the prequels?
No, the best acting for Sheev is in episode 9.
Oh, episode 9. Oh, definitely, yeah, easily. But we for sure just get so much more out of you know when you watch those episodes after the prequels. Say what you want about them, at least you know more about the Emperor now, and you know how he coaxed Anakin along, and you know how he was in power and grew to power in the Senate as the supreme chancellor, and then eventually supreme emperor. It makes sense. It makes sense the way they did it.
Yeah, it does. It's some of that's boring, like okay, trade disputes, and it's like no one gives a shit. But like the
C-SPAN in space,
exactly. But then like if you look at the grand picture of Star Wars, like it totally like it's like oh okay yeah. That would have had to have happened. It wouldn't have been. It's that line. So this is how liberty dies, with thunderous applause. Like it's.
Yep.
It actually kind of weirdly parallels a lot of shit that's going on now. Where it's like we need to be safe. We have to give rid of all of our freedoms just to be safe. It's like, well, that's a slippery slope, guys. Are we ready? I don't think we're ready to do that. And then some people are just like, yeah, let's fucking do it. It's like, all right, well, I don't know.
No.
Not to get political, but yeah. All right, my number 4. Where are we?
4.
4? Okay.
4.
My number 4 is Anakin fucking up those Tusken Raiders.
Yeah.
I love that scene. And it's emotional, it's action packed, and it actually kind of like makes you go back and watch A New Hope, and you're like, fuck those guys. I mean, they're bad guys anyway, but now you're like, dude, they kept like his mom as a slave, and she was all fucked up and beaten by him. It's a rough scene, dude. Like, and then when she dies, the music swells, and to me, that's when he starts down the path of Vader. Because Jedi aren't really supposed to have attachments like that. Like that's one of the things I love about the High Republic. Is I don't want to spoil stuff, but stuff happens to certain characters, and they have to deal with that. And it's like, I know we're not supposed to have attachments, but like I'm a human being. Like I have feelings, and like we should address them. And they're kind of like, yes, that's okay to do that, but like you can't dwell on it. And I think that's a really cool lesson that the High Republic teaches. And I feel like in this way, I feel like Obi-Wan kind of let Anakin down when it came to that. He was kind of like, just push it aside. Like you can't have feelings,
Okay.
I don't know. It's like it was his mom. It's not like he was in love with. It's not like it ultimately ended up being about Padme, right? But in that movie, it's about his mom, and they just kind of were like, yeah, it happens. I'd have to go back and rewatch it again, but I don't remember them like making a big deal about that. Like I don't remember anyone consoling him about it. Does that happen? You watched it just recently. Does anyone like console him about it?
Padme that's about it. Padme and they
Does
have
he bring it up
ceremony.
to the other Jedi?
I don't recall. No.
Okay, maybe I'm just misremembering, but I do love that scene's awesome. The way he kills that dude at the end, where like, or is that at the beginning? It's got to be the end, right? Where he kills him and like he chops the head off and then like stabs the body.
Yeah, I think that's towards the end because the first one doesn't he stab through like the tent or something?
I think so. Or no, he like carves. I don't remember. I'd have to go back and watch it, but I remember that scene was just really really cool. All right, on to your number 3.
We're in the top 3, yes, sir. And this one is the villains that we received in the prequels. I just really like Darth Maul, Count Dooku, and especially General Grievous. I think Grievous might be my favorite out of all 3 of them.
He's my favorite for sure.
Yeah, just the purpose that they served. And I would have been pissed if we didn't get more of Maul the way we did in the animated universe and end of Solo and stuff like that, I would have been pissed if there wasn't more of him. So that's why I'm not like super mad. But I love just in Count Dooku's cool. Darth Tyrannus, Count Dooku, whatever you want to call him. I like the connection that he still had. He mentions Qui-Gon in Attack of the Clones, so, trying to pull at Obi-Wan's heartstrings there. And my dog and my cat are fighting each other right now, so sorry about that. That was nice. Maybe Winston came in here and was like, stop talking about Attack of the Clones. That movie sucked.
You guys have brought that up like 4 times.
Yeah, just to wrap up that, the villains themselves, Darth Maul, Count Dooku, and Grievous especially. Grievous, I want to talk about for a little bit more for a second, just because his story is so cool. This really more droid and a little bit of human left in him, commander of the droid army who kills Jedi and takes their lightsabers, and who's been trained by a Sith Lord, former Jedi, in the arts of lightsaber battle. And oh yeah, he's got 4 fucking arms that he wields lightsabers with. I mean, come
on. Couldn't he show up in Bad Batch?
No.
No.
He's dead.
No, he's dead. He's dead. Shit.
Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, Revenge of the Sith. He dies.
So primitive.
But we also thought that Darth Maul had died. We also thought Palpatine had died. He's half cyborg. They could just reboot his ass.
Dude, Grievous blew up, though.
Oh, that's right.
Like, if he came back, I'd be like, all right. As much as I love the character,
come on.
What the fuck?
I always forget where I don't know. I do that shit sometimes where I'm like, ooh, that'd be cool. That's like a complete idiot. Whatever. I agree with you, man. I think the villains were interesting because the villains were like larger than life in almost every. I mean, Dooku is like the most normal fucking villain of the 3,
right?
But like they were all just like that shows you how insane Palpatine's like long game was. He was like, fuck this guy. I don't care about Darth Maul. He's a pawn in my game. And then they have that like showdown in Clone Wars, or was it Rebels?
Who is the showdown? Maul and who?
Maul and Palpatine. Was that Rebels? It's Clone Wars then.
Does he have a showdown with Palpatine?
Oh, for sure.
It's got to be Clone Wars then. I don't think it's Rebels.
Let me double. Did I make this up? No, they're like fighting in like a grand hall. Let's see. Hang on. Darth Maul versus Palpatine. Yeah, I thought I was right. With Darth Maul and Savage Press. And I got the Cartoon Network logo, so it had to be Clone Wars.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I sent you the link. Yeah, it's a pretty dope fight. But yeah, they just show that like he's a pawn, like he's willing to lose everybody to gain Anakin.
Yep.
So it's a pretty cool. Those are all the villains in the prequels are pretty dope. Again, I think Dooku might be the most boring of the 3.
Yeah.
But Grievous is one of my all-time favorite characters in Star Wars. I love Grievous.
Me too.
He's awesome. My number 3 is, I'm surprised this wasn't a little higher, but when you see my top 2, you'll know why. But the scene right after the fight between Anakin and Obi-Wan on Mustafar, the first time you see Vader put in that suit.
Yeah.
That's one of the most like, oh, fuck moments. And I watched it, and I recently realized that if you watch that scene, the first time that his mask does the breathe in, breathe out thing, they animated the air particles around his mouth to move with the breath. And it's such a cool little weird detail that if you don't notice it, you just don't notice it.
Okay.
Go back and watch again. It's really cool, and it makes it feel more real. But, dude, that first time you hear him go online, you hear that, it's fucking chilling. It's creepy. It's that whole scene is just dark where he's like, it just shows the continued manipulation of Palpatine with Vader, and that just continues even through the comics. Like, It's like, where's Padme? Is she all right? He's like, well, it seems in your anger you killed her. He's like, no. That whole no thing is dumb.
Yeah.
But when he's like using the Force to like break all the stuff inside, and Palpatine's like laughing at him.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't get much fucking darker than that, dude. It's dark, but it's one of the coolest scenes in all of Star Wars.
It is, and I love how he, even though the no, take it or leave it, his like Force feelings are just crushing everything.
Yeah,
because he's so pissed. I love that.
It's just painful.
So, number 2, speaking of painful, and this is a specific scene, and this is a scene before one of your moments, but this is on the way to going to save Shmi and kill a bunch of Tusken Raiders. Anakin on the speeder bike, on his way to save his mom and kill the Raiders. This is such a pivotal moment in Anakin's life, and essentially the first choice that determines his fate. And the best part about this is Duel of Fate starts playing again while he's riding the bike.
Mm-hmm. That's a really cool. So, I don't like to throw the word iconic around a lot, but that shot of him on the speeder bike is iconic.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
He's pissed.
Yep.
He knows what he's going. He knows what he's going to do, and it's just like, is this? Ooh, doesn't Qui-Gon tell him not to do something? Or is that in Revenge of the Sith?
Qui-Gon tell him not to do something?
I thought he hears a voice like, Anakin, no.
I think that's in Revenge of the Sith when he's with Padme.
Yeah.
Or no, that might be Attack of the Clones. I don't know, but I know what you're talking about. I can't place where it is. I don't think it's on. I think it's Revenge of the Sith. Damn it! Now I gotta go back and find that.
Anyway, it still doesn't take away how iconic the scene is, eventually leading to the path that Anakin will eventually take. And he didn't have to kill them all. I mean, they did some bad things, but Jedis don't do that. And
that just shows you his inclination to the dark side.
Yep.
Whew, it's a rough scene. That whole build-up is rough. My number 2 is, I'm pretty sure your number 1, but it's the Duel of the Fates.
Iconic as hell.
Is it your number 1?
It's not, actually.
No, sweet. Okay, good. Yeah, Duel of the Fates is my number 2. It's one of the greatest. We talked about it before. It's one of the best lightsaber fights in all of Star Wars.
Fuck yeah.
It's you actually see what happens to Obi-Wan's apprentice, Obi-Wan's master, and it's just awesome. Everything about it, the setting is awesome. The way it kicks off is awesome. They like see each other, and the Padme and everyone else goes to the right, and they're just like, all right, we're here to fuck this dude up. I will say, like, the space battle that happens during Duel of the Fates is annoying because you're just like, get back to the lightsabers. What do we do? What is this shit? I don't want to see Anakin go, yippee! That's a good trick. I hate all that shit. But that fight itself is just fucking awesome. And it can't be overstated how great that lightsaber battle is. If it's not number 1, it's in the top 5.
Yeah.
It's fucking awesome. All right, man. My number 1 is going to underwhelm everybody, I think.
No.
What is your number 1?
My number 1 is pretty cliche, and it's already been stated by you on your list. But I just, every time, like, thinking of my favorite prequel moment, something from it, I can't get away from my personal favorite lightsaber battle of Obi-Wan versus Anakin Skywalker. I just absolutely adore every bit of that lightsaber battle. Just like you said, not what they cut away from, because you take away from the epicness of what we're getting in the moment. And I think it's so freaking amazing when, like, in funny but fun at the same time, when they're not their sabers aren't hitting each other. They're kind of in like both like in defensive mode, and they're all doing like kind of like commercial tricks, and you just back and forth.
Yeah, I just think of the hallway. That thing when they're walking down that hallway and like hitting stuff with their sabers as they're going through, and they like both kind of like whip them behind their backs and in front of them, and then like stop.
Oh yeah,
that's a cool. It looks so fucking cool. It's just so cool. I can't imagine how long it took them to train to learn that.
Oh my god! And can we just, I wanted to specifically mention this during this part of my top 10 list, but something that the prequels gave us that highly improved on from the original trilogy were lightsaber battles.
Yeah. I feel like it
Like-
made sense, though. I've had this conversation with my dad a bunch of times because if you're talking about the Jedi at the end of the height of their power, right? It would make sense that these highly trained Jedi can do that kind of cool shit with their lightsabers and like learn to manipulate the Force to help them and like jump higher and fight better and all that stuff. If you're just a dude in the desert who's 85 years old fighting a half robot guy, the fights are gonna not be as interesting.
Okay,
and
that's
like
fair.
they're not, and like Luke versus Vader. Luke's not trained. Vader really doesn't have any reason to go over the top with Luke because he's not trained that well. Go back and watch that Bespin fight. It's one of my favorite lightsaber fights of all time, just because of like how important it is to Star Wars and how cool the setting is, and how they kind of made Vader like Jaws, where he like disappears for a little bit, and it's mysterious where he's at, and that's really, really interesting. But like, it makes sense that like they wouldn't have the skills to do that, which is one of my issues with the sequel trilogy. Like Rey in The Rise of Skywalker, you see her training a little bit. Well, you know what? I take that back because it only happens in Rise of Skywalker. I take that back. She's not like super flamboyant in any of the fights up until Rise of Skywalker, so I'll take that point back. But like, it makes sense that Obi-Wan and Anakin at that point would be that well trained. Hence why how awesome that fucking fight is. That fight's the shit, dude.
Yeah, your points make a ton of sense. But I mean, and I know it were several years and technology was better. Just the lightsaber battles were vastly improved, and it gives me my favorite one between Obi-Wan and his Padawan Sir Anakin. So I love it.
I love it.
What's your number one?
Can you guess what my number one is? I'm just curious if you could guess.
Yippee!
No. Close. Close.
Pod racing?
Yeah, it's number one.
I knew it. Yeah.
I love pod racing, man. I grew up with an
Yeah.
N64. I played the pod racing game all the fucking time. I downloaded it during the pandemic when it came out on the Switch. I didn't buy it. Evan got me for my birthday the Sebulba pod racer because the Anakin one wasn't there. I love pod racing. I think it's one of the coolest things in Star Wars. It's one of the things that like shouldn't have been like 30 minutes of the movie. But I think for what it did with visual effects, I mean, dude, that movie's what, from 99, so that makes it like
1999.
21 years old at this point.
Yeah.
21, 22 years old, whatever it is. I'm bad at math. Those visual effects hold up, dude. Like, that shit is so tight still. Those movies have not aged at all. There's only one scene I can think of that looks like shit from those movies, and it's when they first land in Episode 2 and the Padme ship gets like someone blows it up. That's like the only thing that looks kind of janky. But the pod racing looks so crisp, and it just adds like a cool element to Star Wars where like not everything is like dark and there's like athletes, and I don't know, it just adds something about it. I was a 10-year-old boy. Like, that shit's cool. Like the racing, they're going like when you play the video game, you see they're going 600 miles an hour. It's just cool.
Damn.
It also expanded like Tatooine. Like, it made it to where there was like other shit going on Tatooine. It wasn't just, this poor bastard in his uncle's garage moisture farming. It showed there was like other stuff to do on Tatooine, and I hope we see it come back in some point. I was hoping like in The Mandalorian when they finally said like they're going to Tatooine, that like they would fly over it and you would see like pod racing in the distance. Like, I don't need another pod racing scene, but it hasn't been acknowledged anywhere else, and I really would like them to just acknowledge that it happens. Have you ever played the pod racing game that was made for N64 and PlayStation?
I have not.
Dude, it's the fucking shit. When you move down here, we're going to play it. Have it on the Switch.
All right.
Dude, I'm telling you, it's so much fun, and it's hard as fuck. It is so fun. Did you ever play the pod racing arcade game?
I don't recall, no.
Okay, you got to look it up. Like, Google,
Okay.
you Google Star Wars arcade machine pod racer. I think it's called Star Wars Episode 1 pod racer machine. and they had them at Disney Quest, and I forgot about this. When I worked for Disney, they were auctioning off all the shit that was inside Disney Quest for cast members, and I bid on one of those machines, and I lost the bid. Like I had bid like $1,300, and it sold for like $22. Would have been cool to have. Imagine that thing in the garage, because like when you see it, you'll know what I'm talking about. Like you literally had the pod racing controls. Like you saw Anakin like push those things forward. Well, like when you pushed them both forward, you went straight. And then if you like tilted the left one back, you would kind of turn to the left a little bit. It was pretty accurate controls, and it was so much fucking fun. But pod racing is just cool, man. I've always just dug it. It's a personal thing. These lists are personal, so if you're upset by my number one, it's what it is. It's my number one. Not saying it's the best moment in the prequels, but it's my favorite moment in all of the prequels. It's
yours.
It's my favorite, and I love it, and I'll never not love it. I've actually, and this is true, I've legitimately just turned on like a YouTube video of the pod racing scene and just watched it. And last thing I'll say about this before we wrap it up, I could talk about the pod racing scene I could do a whole episode on this for real by myself. The sound design that Ben Burtt did for those pod racers is the most underrated aspect of all of Star Wars. When if you pay attention to the pod racing scene and you learn the different sounds of each pod racer, you can close your eyes and know what's going on.
That's cool.
I'm telling you, like I can. There's not many sounds in Star Wars that are that iconic to me other than Sebulba's pod racer. Sebulba's pod racer goes like, this like low gravelly thing, and Anakin's kind of sounds like light and airy. They all have different sounds, and it's amazing. And we could do an episode on Ben Burtt, man. He was fucking incredible. But I love it. I love the pod racing. It will never get old to me. I could watch it 1,000 times. It's just so entertaining. And also, this is truly the last thing I'll say. It backs up Anakin being one of the best pilots in the galaxy. It shows that from a young age he was being a badass pilot. He's the only human that can pod race.
Mm-hmm.
You caught that line in the movie, right? Like they're like, he's the only human. I'm the only human that can do it.
Yeah, you're right.
It's crazy. It's awesome. Whew. Well, that was a fun list to do because we don't talk about the prequels that much on the show.
We don't. That was a lot of fun.
I would like to do. I'm curious what Evan's would be.
Yeah.
I bet I could figure him out. Just like a rough guess of what his are, but I'd love to hear him come on or like Evan. If you're listening to this, just go on YouTube and comment what your top 10 moments would be.
Yes,
I know you listen
do.
to it because I'm very curious. I don't really want to revisit this because I feel like it would be kind of not in a shitty way, but like I wouldn't want to be like him playing catch up would just be kind of weird on the show. But I'm curious what his top 10 moments would be. If you are listening to this on YouTube or wherever you're listening to it, give us your top 10. Tell me what you like about the prequels. What are your top 10 moments from the prequels? You can do it anywhere, like we said, on YouTube or wherever you listen to the podcast. You can comment on each individual episode, or you can go to our Instagram at Jedi Talk Podcast and tell us what your top 10 moments are. Comment. That's the only place we're going to be doing social media, so go check that out. Other than the Facebook group, check that out.
Speaking of Jedi Talk Podcast, we got a little bit of a message today from one Kyle Cosentino, who Brad said wants to know why The Last Jedi isn't canon. So I did want to include in this a listener question from a Tim Marciano, who asked specifically about Kyle after Kyle asked the poor question about The Last Jedi, by the way. How does Kyle have the audacity?
Kyle, here's a simple question. Here's a simple answer. It is canon, and you can just ride the internet's coattails and pretend the movie's not great if you'd like. I'm actually wearing a Last Jedi shirt right now, which is hilarious.
Yes.
And you know what else you can do, Kyle? You can suck these nuts. It's canon. All right, go ahead with the question.
Oh, yeah. Tim wanted to know specifically after Kyle's comment, how does Kyle have the audacity to make fun of gingers when, in fact, he grows that pathetic excuse for facial hair that looks like patchy red pubes? That's from Tim Marciano.
Tim, you're awesome. Oh, we got to get Kyle on this podcast, man.
Yeah, we do. So he can pathetically limp through his defense of why he doesn't like The Last Jedi.
I do that. That needs to be the whole episode. Ask him if he'll do it.
I will. Because Kyle, this is me calling you out, and I'm going to text him as soon as we're done with this and ask him and I'll call him out on this weekend's Fourth Mother Box. Thank you very much.
Nice.
And get him to commit to coming on to defend his poor point and his puny ginger beard.
I could not be more excited to talk shit about some. I was thinking about this today. Like, we've said it 1,000 times. Oh my God. Holy shit. I gotta send. Okay, I'm sending you something real quick. I don't know what these cost, but I want both of them. I just was scrolling through Facebook just to double check if there were any more listener questions. And, and someone just posted they have 2 prototype Black Series figures that are like legit prototypes. I want both of them. Holy shit. Sold. Name your price.
This is Brad's pornography, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, it is. Sorry, that was really cool. I've never seen actual prototypes.
Oh, interesting.
For sale on Facebook. Yeah, isn't that cool? That's the dude on the right. He's like a main character in. Not a main. He's like a popular background character. I forget his name. Those are cool, right?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That's really cool.
Black Series too.
Yeah. What were we talking about? Yeah, dude. Anyone who I was thinking about this today. If you say you don't like The Last Jedi, I've said this before, but you get everything you want out of that movie. We'll say this for Kyle, but that'll be a tease.
Yep,
next episode.
that's a tease.
Tease to the next
and we're
episode.
calling you out, Kyle. So
Kyle,
that was the last of it, and I wanted to make sure that I got Tim's comment in there about Kyle, because he's true. And Kyle, I will continue to rip on you in any medium that I can until you admit that you're wrong.
Kyle, what's it like being a liberal cuck? That's been Jedi Talk. Thank you so much for listening to. Thanks for listening to Jedi Talk. You can follow me on Instagram at TheBradVentures, and you can follow.
Are you sure you want to do that?
What?
Just plug the IGA.
Oh God, he's gonna be so mad at me. He's not a liberal cuck. I'm just fucking with you, Kyle. Yeah, so you can follow along with me at The Brad Ventures on Instagram. You can follow along with the show at Jedi Talk Podcast on Instagram. And like I said before, once you come down and you move down here, I'm going to be able to do a lot more with that. Because it's really weird if I just like post videos of myself in the garage like, hey guys, this episode's going to be about this. Please watch.
Right. Yeah, once I move to Florida and I'm settled in, Jedi Talk's going to the next level, people. Sit tight.
It's going to be atmospheric rise. I'm going to put all my energy into this. That's not work energy. I'm putting in it. I can't even say that joke because I feel like it would go to court. So I'm just going to ignore that joke and we're going to move on.
Good call.
I was going to say something about ignoring my children, but that's a joke and I'm kidding. We're going to take this to the next level, dude, because we got Celebration coming up. We got to get in gear. I can't wait. So, Tom, where can they find you over on the internet?
Oh, you could find me 2 places on the Instagram at Fourth Mother Box and at Ginger_Muscle, and I lied, a 3rd place at the Fourth Mother Box group on the Bookface.
Bookface. Check out Fourth Mother Box Podcast. It's a really good time, and I'm going to finish the Snyder Cut this weekend, and I'll give you our thoughts. Me and Holly both really enjoyed it. We also didn't realize we got like an hour into the movie, which was nuts because it didn't feel like it went that long. That's how you know the movie's well made. I'm just telling you that off the bat. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we will see you guys on the next show. Until then, stay safe. May the Force be with you.
Always.